Hello and welcome to Kart Chaser's exclusive coverage of the 2024 SKUSA Winter Series, sponsored by Acceleration Kart Racing and brought to you this weekend by Simcraft. We're back at the Homestead-Miami Motorplex for the second weekend of action in this 4-round championship, and more than 250 drivers across 9 classes have got 2 intense days of on-track action to decide the 2024 Winter Series champions. All the warm-up action on Saturday and Sunday is going to be free to air, but to watch every lap of time qualifying, the pre-finals and the finals themselves, you need to be a Kart Chaser Premium subscriber. Now, I am supposed to be joined by the voice of SKUSA, Rob Howden, and Mr. Kart Chaser himself, Xander Clements, but we are in the Florida Everglades, and when we told them to go out and get some lunch and make it snappy, we didn't really realise that they were lunch. This could be a problem. Just one round remains in the 2024 SKUSA Winter Series before we crown our champions. Saturday's sun-blessed action in Homestead saw some contenders shine while others slipped into the shade. But as Championship Sunday dawns, there will be nowhere to hide for any of the 230 drivers who are set to lay it all on the line. Despite a poor day for Zane Burgess, the Jamaican sensation still leads in Micro Swift, while Marco Samut now heads a Mini Swift class that was blown wide open, with Royce Vega less than 20 points behind. And a second win for Diego Ardiles in X30 Junior virtually assures him of the title. But Ardiles faces a much tougher task in KA100 Junior, where he trails Saturday winner Sebastian Garzon by just 10 points, and the senior KA class is even tighter, with just a single point separating Donovan Bonilla and Alessandro Di Tullio. Di Tullio and Bonilla also duke it out in X30 Pro, with Di Tullio ahead by 12 points, and a maiden win for Matias Morgado in Pro Shifter means points leader Danny Formal can't celebrate just yet. It promises to be a day to remember, and you can watch all the drama unfold with us, only on Kart Chaser's coverage brought to you by Acceleration Kart Racing and Simcraft.
And indeed, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to AMR Homestead-Miami Motorplex, presented by MG Tires. My name is Rob Howden, joined, as we said, by Henry Beaudet, who gave you the intro to the day. Henry, a fantastic day yesterday. Beautiful blue skies finally coming through after the morning mist that we expected. But the racing was tremendous. A lot of drivers worked their way to the front, but championships up for grabs here today on Championship Sunday.
Absolutely, Rob. Yesterday we saw some excellent racing, plenty of drama. The weather was better. It's even sunnier and warmer today. So the heat is on, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, for all of these drivers who have been battling it out here throughout the early part of the season, you know, a couple of races in January, now yesterday, round number 3. Everybody coming in with a different storyline. There are those that are kind of sitting pretty right now. This is kind of what could be a throwaway day. They can improve on their points. There's other drivers that had issues in the first 3 rounds. They've already got a drop essentially locked and loaded. They have to have a good day today if they're going to win a championship.
Yes, this is a day, we call it the David Cole day, because David, the e-karting news doyen of statistics, will be helping us. So each driver has to count their best 3 out of 4 rounds. There is 100 points available for winning the pre-final, 200 points available for winning the final, 10 championship points for pole position, and 10 championship points for the fastest lap in the final itself.
And I always like to say that all those points are up for grabs, so you're trying to win as many points as you can for yourself. But when you win them for yourself, you also steal them away from your competition.
Exactly, and so, you know, the day is going to progress. Drivers are going to be thinking, well, some of the drivers are going to be thinking about the bigger picture and what have you. I spoke to some of the parents in the mini and micro class, and they haven't even really told the kids about the points. They're letting the kids just go out and drive, especially the micros. You know, they've got a lot to think about, regardless. You know, it's the 7, 8, 9-year-old drivers out there. They just told, right, you can go out, have fun, you can drive as fast as you can, and let mum and dad stress over the championship.
Warm-up is underway for the drivers in KA100 Junior, and this is really a category that I think is going to be the closest championship right now.
Oh, yes.
We've got Sebastian Garzon and Diego Ardiles. They rolled into the weekend tied with 570 points. Yesterday, Diego was better in the qualifying in the pre-final. Sebastian came in and got the race win. So they're very close on top of the points right now, first, second, and that's the battle we're going to see through to the very end. 10-point difference coming in, I believe. Where are we total?
10 points before drops. Garzon a second win out of 3. So, Ardiles 1 win, Garzon 2 wins, but they've both been the class of the field. Hard to believe there's 50 drivers in this field and that the same 2 names continue to dominate. And looking at the timing screens after warm-up, what a surprise. It's Garzon and Ardiles 1-2 yet again.
Yeah, they're going to line up. There's other great drivers in the field, as we know. Enzo Vidmontier and Jack Simoldi, top national drivers well in the category here. But these 2 drivers have really risen to the top. They were very quick back in January, where Diego Ardiles was able to come out, of course, really extremely well, and they were tied coming into this weekend. Again, yesterday, as I said, it was Ardiles, then it was Garzon. This could come down to the main event, a one-on-one battle in the main event to see who's going to win the championship.
It could come down to who sets the fastest lap
in
the main event. Yep. It is that close. So, ladies and gentlemen, where are we? We are at the Homestead-Miami Motorplex. We are just south of Miami, outside the Homestead-Miami NASCAR circuit. There you are on the screens. That is the main grandstand, the Allied Champions Club. I can tell you that I went up to the top of that to have a little look around, and from there you can see all the way up to Miami and all the way down to the Florida Keys, which are just south of us. Rob, you're familiar with this area and the facility. It's been here since 1996, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been here quite a while. And again, the Superkarts USA had a Florida winter tour back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and this was a key part of this track when it was first developed. And the interesting thing about this particular racetrack, 12 corners. It is essentially a permanent temporary circuit. We're essentially on a parking lot on the outside of turn 1 and 2 here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. But again, for 20 plus years, it has been a racetrack that has hosted so many. It's a big part of the Florida scene, number one, but it hosted a lot of major events, as we know, part of the Winter Series programs. And again, this particular track here has been big for South Florida karting. And again, looking forward to getting at it here today. It's a tremendously challenging track, in my opinion. I love driving here. A lot of 90-degree corners, a couple of hairpins, the inner carousel. It really challenges drivers, and I think one of the best parts about it is the way the track rolls and the way the track races with all these 90-degree corners. You have to open up on the way to the corner to be able to get a big speed. The minute you open up, you allow the overtake on the inside. There's so much passing happening at this particular track and in so many different areas of the track as well.
Yes, indeed, and you saw a good panoramic view of the facility there, the palm trees, of course, the Everglades, which have got some interesting critters in them, just to the south of us. A huge paddock here, the motorhomes, the RVs lining the circuit. There's the scale area where all the drivers come in to go through tech. It's a really good, there's nowhere else in the world you'd rather be on a Championship Sunday, not even Las Vegas. This is the real Championship Sunday here in South Florida.
Yeah, beautiful day. Of course, you see the blue sky. We had some cloud cover yesterday morning, but now 70 degrees trackside, expecting it to get up potentially into the low 80s here today. One of the things that you do deal with, number one, we're at sea level essentially here, so a little bit different in terms of chassis, carb tuning as well. But the humidity is going to be here as well. One of the things you get down here in South Florida, it'll get quite humid throughout the day, especially with the temperature raising up as it is into the low 80s day. It's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, it's going to put a challenge on our drivers. Yeah,
you can already feel the humidity. There's one thing that is missing from yesterday, and that is a breeze. Yesterday there was a bit of a crosswind, a few clouds that gave the corner workers a bit of respite, and I think you just noticed on the commentary cam, the announcement cam here, you'll see all the SKUSA officials around the circuit wearing it's the breast cancer support squad's brand new T-shirts. We're all pretty in pink, I think it's worth to say, and again, already they're getting a lot of support around the paddock. Certainly, a great concept there by SKUSA. The officials have got to stand out. Well, why not stand out in name of a good cause?
The concept is to sell a bunch of T-shirts here. The SKUSA Strong T-shirts to raise money for the fight versus cancer. So again, you'll see the pink all around, breast cancer awareness and breast cancer support. So all the money that gets raised from these T-shirts, the SKUSA Strong T-shirts, will be donated to the Research for Breast Cancer. So indeed, fantastic to see this program happen here this weekend, and everybody, as you said, decked out in that pink color here throughout the day. Into warm-up here, as we said, working our way through. Those of you tuning in here on Kart Chaser, great to have you with us. We'll say hello to those of you around the country and, of course, around the world as well, as we have a very international field. You went through that list yesterday.
Yes.
Massive list of the different countries' drivers represented here this weekend. For those of you tuning in, here is your kind of lineup for when we're going to be on the racetrack. We just had the KA100 Juniors. We'll follow that up with Mini Swift. Then we'll have the KA100 Senior, Micro Swift, KA100 Master. Then we roll into the two X30 categories, Junior and Senior. And we wrap up the day with Pro and Master Shifters. So, indeed, looking forward to see what happens. And we talk about Pro and Master Shifter. I think Skitchy Barnes, he's got the weight off. I think he's going to run in the Pro category. So that means at least he'll be able to keep his spot wherever he finishes. When he was running Master, he actually had the weight off yesterday. But running Master, they made him start last every session. So now if he runs the Pro category, when he's in there battling with guys, he's going to be able to start further up the grid. So that's hopefully how we'll see things roll out for Scott Skitchy Barnes.
Yeah, indeed. Confirmed that with the SKUSA officials last night that he is going to run Pro Shifter today. The difference between Pro Shifter and Master Shifter, as Rob said, it's simply weight limits.
Yeah, 20 pounds and, of course, your age, right? You got to be 30 and up to run in the Masters category. Scott, just 40 years, turning 40 years of age here this year. So, but we watched him yesterday battle out with a couple of drivers. Very impressive.
Turning 40, he's a mere pup.
He's a child.
But on circuit now, you're looking at Mini Swift, 22 drivers in total. Hopefully, we've got all 22 drivers out there. In fact, yes, we do. Parker Ives, who had an incident in time qualifying yesterday, hurt his sort of his kidneys and his back a little bit. Took a little trip to the ER yesterday. Dave said there he is on your screen. Is Parker Ives, the son of former NASCAR Cup Series crew chief Greg Ives, but he's back. He's a bit of a walking wounded, but he's fit to race. He's been cleared to race, and so we've got full complement of 22 drivers.
Yeah, we spoke with Greg last night, and they're trying a different rib protector for him. They tried to get him in the seat. It was a little bit sore in the back, but trying just a couple of different things. And the thing about a different rib protector, it can hit different pressure points, right? That's one of the things that can take the pressure off that one particular area. So good to see Parker back again, but as we know, we talk about the 40-year-olds, 50 or 55 in my case.
Plus tax.
They do bounce back a little faster than we do, right? Yes. We'll see Parker back out there today.
And of course this class, one of the classes that is extremely intriguing indeed. It was blown wide open yesterday. Now, Marco Samut in the number 175 kart, he leads the championship before drop scores over Royce Vega. But if you take into account every driver's drop score, it's actually Vega who is 30 points up on Samut. Now, we're not going to try and confuse you, the viewers, with... now, here is Parker Ives, I believe, coming into the pits in the number 148 kart. He's gone out 19th quickest in kart number 148. I hope that is him just saying, okay, I'm good to go.
Yeah, or is it I can't do it?
No, Mum, Dad, I've tried, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple of drivers. I noticed that Byron Bourneman is walking around in the cast. He had an incident in one of the micro Swift races. He dislocated his shoulder, but he is here in a sling. I spoke to him and his mum. He's going to stay watching. I think his older sister Bristol is going to be racing as well. Bernardo Benoldi is the Brazilian, the son of ex-Formula 1 driver Enrique Benoldi. He's feeling unwell and he won't be racing today. So we're down to 230 entries from, again, more than 24 nations. But it's Samut versus Vega, really, in the standings, with Troy Ferguson, also the third member of the Mini Swift crew that can win the title.
I'd throw Ashton Woon in there as well. Ashton Woon currently third spot in the points right now, backed by only 50 points. And again, that's before the drop, right? It takes a while to sit back and see what everybody's drop race is. So we'll see. Again, David Cole will start putting his spreadsheet together. We'll kind of figure out where we are.
I knew he was good for something.
Yeah, he's solid. Trust me.
Not just burger reviews.
That's very true. Marco Samet, the driver up top here in this warm-up session. Going to quick little warm-up, 5-minute warm-up, allowing these drivers just to get a feel for things here right now. 52.229 for Samet, about 2/10 quicker than Josh Bergman, but everybody coming to get this final lap in the books. Nico Katowski up front, Mika Baruch as well, Julian Rivera, some of the drivers turning quick times. There's Troy Ferguson, Roy Steggett down in 8th, Ashton Woon in 9th. All these drivers potentially in the championship discussion when we get to it this afternoon.
Yeah, impressive, certainly from Josh Bergman up in P2, but also from Nico Katowski in P3. He is the driver, him and his brother. They've got the Pride of the USA, Remember the Fallen wrap on all their team clothing, their motorhome, their awning and everything, and they also cook a mean pierogi.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you get a chance to work through the paddock
well,
last night?
I have to do my research, and if it involves consuming large quantities of Polish sausage and pierogi, then so be it. I will.
Also, you got to take one for the team.
Oh, I know.
I appreciate that, Henry.
It's hard work. Somebody's got to do it.
That is the grid area right behind our studio here at the front straightaway. Drivers getting ready to roll out for this next class. That will be the KA100 Senior class. And man, did they ever have a fantastic race yesterday. Elbows up for sure in the senior category. This is going to be a good championship battle as well. There's really a majority of the championships are pretty much still up for grabs as we come in.
Yes.
There are a couple there's some players that maybe have moved to the forefront. There's no doubt about that. We know Danny Formal has pretty much locked things down in the pro shifter category. Skitchy Barnes is the only driver to do all the events and Masters. He's got that one locked down as well. But again, there are other categories like this KA100 Senior where I think we're in the middle of a good battle.
I think we're in the middle of a good battle. It is a 1-point difference between Donovan Bonilla and Alessandro Di Tullio before dropped scores. Now, we'll just call the racing on the track. We'll try and keep you up to date as much as we can with provisional drop scores. But of course, everything that Rob and I and the voice of Kart Chaser, Xander Clements, who will be joining us during the course of the day, everything that we say is, of course, provisional. We're not aware of pushback penalties, of scale infringements, of on-track contact penalties, things like that. So the results, the final published results, which you can check out on Race Hero and on the SKUSA app when they're published, obviously that does have an impact on the finishing order and the championship positions, but on track is where we can call it. But yeah, on track, it's going to, again, another class that could go down the last lap of the last race of the championship.
That would not surprise me at all for KA100 Senior, the category brought to you by Sodi Racing USA, which saw a number of drivers work their way to the front. Alessandro Di Tullio's been very good, as of course Stephen Miller right there. Great to have a number, James Overbeck coming here to run this weekend here as well. He was obviously in that lead kind of quintet up front. We saw a lot of action, some final lap moves coming to the line. This is going to be a tremendous battle here over the 22-lap main event. We've got a long time to go before we get there, and a lot of points up for grabs. I think that's one of the key things we need to talk about, is the fact that we touched on it briefly. So important that all these points are up for grabs. Points for pole. A lot of points still there for the pre-final as well. You can't sandbag in the pre-final if you're trying to win a championship. Fast lap of the race in the main event, as Henry had already mentioned, and of course the double points for the main. So a lot of markers still able to be grabbed here by these drivers. That's why I think qualifying is so crucial. It's 10 points for qualifying on pole. That's a big move for any one of these drivers. So we'll see who in the fight potentially steps up. Donovan Bonilla, very strong all weekend long so far. Of course, won yesterday as well in the X30 Senior category. Was able to get away and win that one, Henry. He's quick right now as well, 50.343, just a little bit quicker than Stephen Miller. But again, that pole position could kind of cascade and get things rolling in the right direction for a driver.
Yeah, and also, we're talking about drivers that featured in the results yesterday. What about drivers that were very quick but didn't get the results that their pace warranted? Drivers such as Colin Lloyd, we saw him running top 10, had a retirement in the final. Noah Rosser, again, was right up there in the top 5 or 6 and went out early in the final. There's also a couple of sleepers, a couple of drivers that aren't contending for the championship but were very quick. Cameron Weinberg springs to mind.
On the TV card.
As well, on the TV card. Now, with 39 drivers in this class, we may have lost Spencer Mast who had an incident with Logan Adams yesterday, and again, Logan very sportingly was straight over to check on his rival. Spencer is out there. Michael Boyadzis, the Dan Devereaux racing driver, he was racing yesterday with injured ribs. He skipped the pre-final. Dan and the team, they literally gaffer taped him up and sent him out for the final, and he was doing really well. He got black flagged just a couple of laps before the end when his pace really dropped off. We'll wait and see if he is out today, or if he's going to sort of wait for the final again to see if he's finished. Alec Udell also not out there at the moment in kart number 961. The Orsalon racing.
Yeah,
driver.
Alex, a driver that we saw many years coming through as a younger driver. He's 20 years of age now. Does a lot of sports car racing too, so Alex coming back to have some fun. I haven't had a chance to see him in the paddock yet, but I haven't seen him out here for morning warm-up. So the three drivers have not come to morning warm-up. 36, though, have answered the call. Stephen Miller currently up top with a 49.150. Donovan Padilla, Colin Lloyd, Noah Rosser, Alessandro DiTullio, your top five. Cameron Weinberg in there as well. Chase Busaglia, Anthony Rivera in there as well. Here comes James Overbeck. He'll go up into P3 now as well. So among those, the drivers we expect to see up front. To Steven Eisert as well, who got signed for Sony Racing USA earlier this year, was kind of in the middle of a discussion yesterday too. So we'll see if he finds that just a little bit more he needs to potentially work his way onto the podium. Otherwise, this is a stacked field in the KA 100 senior category. 36 drivers we expect to take the green here today.
Yeah, DiTullio, who sort of gave away, he gave away the win, the pre-final, then bounced back, in the main event. But he's third, Padilla second. Stephen Miller, not a driver that can win the championship. Certainly a driver who is up there. But Miller, Stephen Eisert actually third in points at the moment. Stephen Miller fourth in point. Now Stephen's doing two classes. He's doing both KA 100 Senior and X30 Pro, and then he's also doing two different teams as well. So Miller, fourth in points. Like I said, he's not out of it. 86 points off the lead before drops. Anything can happen. 320 points available today, Rob.
That's it. So many opportunities for these drivers. And again, like I say, it's almost that cascading effect. If you're good in qualifying, you're in the pole position, you get those 10 points, then you're qualifying on pole for the pre-final, and then you're just giving yourself the opportunity to get so many points.
Yeah, here's a recap of some of the incidents and accidents that we've seen in KA 100 Senior over the course of the entire 4-round series. You're looking at footage, the rain from the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, what a difference a weekend makes, right? That was yes. Alessandro DiTullio, who actually won on the racetrack in the wet, but the kart was the rear width was too narrow inside that of the of the bodywork, so he lost that win. Ivana Richards, who put on a show to come to second, ended up getting the victory, but DiTullio, again, that win getting taken away. But he is still in the championship fight for sure. That's going to be a drop for him. And the idea then is to see what he can do here today. That's it. That's what I love about Championship Sunday. So many points up for grabs, as you said. And again, we're going to see a number of drivers having that kind of elation when it's all said and done. So a driver who has spent a lot of time having that kind of elation, having won lots of races, standing by right now with our own Alexander Searle.
Thank you, Rob. Ryan, I'm sure you're glad yesterday's done and dusted. New day today. Is there an added pressure in terms of the championship, knowing that you've essentially used up your drop yesterday?
Not really. I mean, I've been in this spot before. I mean, I think I've won this championship like 4 times already, so it's kind of, just got to get in the right headspace when you're out there. I mean, I've had days like that where you just, you can't get anything to go right, and so that was one of them. And so, yeah, I mean, today is a new day. I mean, that's the nice part about the Saturday-Sunday format is that it's a new day, and yeah, it sucks we used our drop, but at least we had a drop, so it's good. We put ourselves in a good spot in the first round to capitalize on today.
Yeah, I mean, the race obviously didn't go your way, but you still had a good qualifying. I mean, is there any positives to take away from yesterday to carry into today?
Yeah, I mean, Donovan won. I think that was a good positive. We, even though we weren't able to win on my end, the team still won, and I think that's fantastic. And he pulled away from everybody, and I think, the only person that could really stay with him was me. And so, it's good. I think it's great that we have a kart up front, and, even when I don't win, they win. So it's always nice to have that. And, yeah, we got a good kart today. We just got to try and stay out of trouble.
All right, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
You know, again, that's wise words from a veteran driver, right?
Yep.
He's been here before. He's won, as I said, multiple championships here in the Florida Winter Series, and just you got to take the good with the bad. Sometimes it's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to have a rough day where you're just not in the right place at the right time. We looked at that replay a couple of times yesterday, where Ryan was coming out of the carousel, was in the middle of a huge group. One driver getting into the back of him, pushing him over top of the other driver. Yep. So, you know, you just never know what's going to happen. But you get the drop, you put it behind you, and you come back out and go for another championship, right? We know Ryan can get the job done.
Exactly. And, of course, speaking of drivers that were very quick yesterday, David Land is standing by with another driver who made a big impact yesterday, Giorgio Carrara.
Yeah, Giorgio, a podium finish yesterday. I know you got your sights set a little higher today. How are you going to do it?
Yeah, good morning. I mean, yesterday was not the result I was expecting after being so fast in the past days. I mean, on Wednesday and Thursday I was really quick, and then as soon as I put the new set of tire for Qualy, I lost a lot of speed. So and then in the race I couldn't actually keep with the guys, with Mateus and Danny. So let's see today. I mean, I feel good. I think if everything goes all right, I can be there in front with them.
We're looking forward to that. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Giorgio. On track for warm-up at the moment is Micro Swift. This class, well, at the start of yesterday, it looked all but done and dusted. Zane Burgess with a commanding lead. However, the Jamaican sensation struggling a little bit with a few engine issues, and as a result, speaking to his dad there, as one of the young drivers having an off-track excursion, and as a result, you know, Zane was driving it a little bit, trying to compensate. He's only 7 years old, don't forget. Santiago Orioli is now emerged as Zane's closest threat. On dropped scores, only 15 points between them after dropped scores are taken into account. Danny O'Gara, great story yesterday, Rob. Emotional scenes, a popular winner. It's always nice for me to see that when a driver, you know, you and I, we both do numerous podium presentations and things like that. And there are certain drivers, doesn't matter what team they're racing for, doesn't matter what series they're in, they always get a more rapturous round of applause from whoever is watching. You know, whether it's finding not just their own team, but other members of the paddock as well at the podium. And yesterday, Danny O'Gara certainly was a very popular winner. And
we always like to see if we can't get everybody to get on board with someone who wins that first big national, right? That's their first opportunity, that first experience of stepping to the top rung of the podium, and we want to get everybody else behind. I think a lot of people see that, they understand it, they remember when it was their first time getting that, or their child's first time on the podium, so they're up there, giving the round of applause as well. It was a big one for Danny O'Gara. He did a great job. There was so much chaos around him. He just never put a wheel wrong. He really wasn't the guy that was in the chaos that was happening. Kind of sidestepped it all and was able to come away to a win and put down the great laps at the end to score that victory. So it was 100% huge for the entire O'Gara family. Dad, Andy, of course, Mom, Sarah as well.
Absolutely. And again, there's a couple of, we did have 39 entries. We've lost Byron Bourneman, who we mentioned earlier, the Nash Motorsports driver, who is here, arm in a sling, watching his sister. Also, Slate Harrell didn't go out yesterday, so I think he is a withdrawal. Now, Liam Nachawati, another story. He hasn't gone out this morning, neither has Luca Passaro, Brody Stoffel, but Liam Nachawati fell in the paddock, has cut his head, got some stitches on his lip. He was cleared to race yesterday. I think he may have gone and had some stitches overnight. He's not out there this morning, so I haven't seen Liam in the number 280 kart, the pole position motorsport kart. I hope that he is okay and that we'll see him later on.
Indeed, had a little incident in the paddock yesterday, a little problem there. But again, he was back at the racetrack for the main event. We'll see whether or not he gets back out here today. Otherwise, Alvaro Madero's on top right now here, checker flag flying. Again, these short warm-up sessions on the track. Santiago Orioli was really one of the lead drivers yesterday, but had a bit of an issue with another driver getting pushed off the track, came back on, moved further back. And Orioli, I expect him to be one to watch here. Running for MPG Motorsports, Easton Kubinski, Danny O'Gara, yesterday's winner, Zane Burgess, your point leader. Yes. All in the top five here to start things off. as well as Anthony Mazzucola. He's in 6th. Lawrence Perham in 7th. Leo Simoni, Jake Maniola. He was good all day yesterday. Jake was in the front pack all day.
He was, and Jake actually comes into the day 4th in points. He's a little bit too far back to affect the championship outcome, but he's still there. Lawrence Perriman has promised that if he gets on the podium, he'll do the griddy, which apparently was the dance he was doing yesterday. It was the griddy. And there's another driver off the side of the circuit now.
He's getting attended to by the SuperCart USA officials like he may have had an incident on the racetrack as well.
Certainly.
A number of people are running over in that direction. Yeah, I think there's been some contact coming out of turn number 1.
Yeah, the cart is on its wheels off the side of the circuit, but that tells me that there was an incident and maybe that cart was stationary and impacted, and that's the worst kind of incident where, you know, you take a deep breath when you see a cart spun broadside on the circuit. So I think what we're going to do, there will be a slight break in proceedings now while the medical team tend to that young driver. So why don't we take our first round of commercial breaks on this Kart Chaser coverage, sponsored by Acceleration Kart Racing and brought to you this weekend by Simcraft.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rip protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next, well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Studies show that even the best current generation of simulators only convince 50% of the human brain that they are real. Here at Simcraft, that just isn't realistic enough. Developed to offer the most realistic karting sim experience in the world, all testing has shown that the physics engine used in Simcraft's Grid 1 model convinces 90% of the human brain that you are actually on track. Now that is the real deal.
So once again, capping off that session there for the drivers in the Micro Swift category. We had an incident at the end, which has been cleaned up. We got a little bit of time here before we roll back in here with the drivers in the KA 100 Master Class. They are sitting on the grid and getting set to go. Well, lots of competition going on here, of course, as we know. We're trying to win a championship in the SuperCarts USA Winter Series. But we also had a little competition going on earlier in the weekend here, a Lego building contest. Let's have a look at this. A couple of Sodi Kart teammates going at it here. This is a pretty cool little bit.
So we've got two Sodi Kart drivers, and we got Dalton Haynes, Harley Keeble, and we have Lego go-karts. So we're gonna have a race to see who can build their Lego the fastest. Harley, you've never built a Lego before, correct?
Not since I was like 5. So
Dalton's feeling really good about his chances. We're gonna mic up Dalton. We're gonna go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
I swear I'm gonna kill you at this. There's no way you beat me.
what? What? Don't you?
You think you're gonna get beat, mate? You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win.
Concentration levels are crazy right now. Bro! Oh my god, this guy, bro.
Stop! Wait, I've done it wrong. No, I've done it wrong. Okay, there we go. Oh wait, where's that piece? No! Where's that piece?
You're such a soul.
Where's that piece?
Give me my man. I want my man. Oh, Dalton! On my chair.
God, get those pics! Get those.
What are you doing? Bro, this guy.
What the hell? What page am I on? No.
Just like on track, bro. Such a sore loser. Give me a tire. No! I think I've won. I got tire on. I got tires on. Oh. Look, mine's capable of driving. I've got tires. I think I win now. 6 minutes and 28 seconds. What does that do? Oh yeah! Bro, what is that?
Oh.
6 minutes and 20 seconds.
It would have took 3 minutes less if Dalton didn't just ruin it.
You know, to be honest, Rob, I think they were rougher there than they are to each other on the racetrack.
I was going to say we needed a race director in for that one. There was a couple of flagrant fouls there. It degraded quite quickly. In the end, though, I think we could have put him in a cage and had him battle it out there. That would have been even more fun.
I can tell you one thing, there are Legos spread all around our broadcast area.
I have no doubt.
So they had no regard for cleaning up the mess. We cleaned it up, though, although they weren't the only two drivers that we talked to this weekend. Obviously, there is something else big going on in the sports world besides the SuperKarts USA Winter Series, and that is, of course, Super Bowl action. So we went around the pits, and we asked, who are the drivers rooting for tonight's big game?
It's the biggest sports weekend in America here. Not just because of the SKUSA Winter Series, because it's Super Bowl weekend and our championship finale happens to fall on Super Bowl Sunday. So we wanted to know, who are the drivers got? The Chiefs or the 49ers? Hut, hut, hut! Oops. Dalton Haynes, who you got in the Super Bowl, Chiefs or 49ers?
I got Anna Fry / Brock Purdy winning it for the 49ers.
Okay, Mr. Irrelevant. Brit to Brit, who's winning the Super Bowl?
I have no idea. I don't know anybody.
Manchester United?
Sure, yeah. Saudi kart racing.
Okay, thank you. Man on the spot, Brandon Carr, who's winning the Super Bowl this weekend?
I don't know the names, but the ones who won it last year.
The ones that won it last year, the one with Taylor Swift on the team, yeah?
Yeah, that one.
That one.
Yeah.
Go on then, give us a throw.
Where to?
Not that car. Somewhere.
Wait till you man. I'm not knocking him off his bike.
Not bad, not bad. Make a rugby player out of you, yes.
Rugby player, it's football.
Oh, you can tell he's been American for like over a year. Shocking. Canadians play football as well, of sorts. Thomas Liveau, who you got in the Super Bowl? Chiefs or the 49ers?
Chiefs.
By how many?
I don't know. I don't follow football that much. I just like the Chiefs.
Why is that? Because of Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, Patrick Mahomes, or Taylor Swift?
Pat Mahomes.
Okay, there we go.
I like him.
Thank you very much. Give us a throw.
A throw?
And it's in the awning. By Norberg. Good catch. Who you got in the Super Bowl, buddy?
Oh, dude, anybody but the Chiefs.
Anybody. That would mean the 49ers then.
Yes, yeah. Anybody.
By how many?
Hopefully 14.
Chiefs, 49ers, Mr. Vanilla.
Chiefs, for sure.
Chiefs for sure. Is that because you're a Swiftie and she's your favourite artist in the world?
No, because Pat Mahomes is the best.
Pat Mahomes, the GOAT. Thank you very much. Mr. Rollison. Oh, big drop. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
Who's playing?
2 football teams. One in gold and one in red.
The Chiefs.
Whew, back in my day, I used to be able to throw this ball over those damn mountains.
Good catch. Who you got to win the Super Bowl? Chiefs or 49ers?
Honestly, I'm an Eagles fan. I don't really care for either teams, but I think the Chiefs are going to win.
Chiefs going to win. Dynasty.
Yeah, Dynasty.
Speed Concepts. Austin Garrison. Number 1. Who you got in the Super Bowl on Sunday?
I know who's playing.
2 American football teams. Chiefs and the 49ers. How about that?
49ers.
49ers. Okay. Ball. How we go? You good? Pass. Chiefs, 49ers.
Niners all day.
Niners all day. We got good hand skills. No, he's done it already. Chiefs, 49ers.
We got to go Niners all day.
Got to go Niners all day, all day. Nope.
Did I detect a Niner in there? What? Did I detect a Niner in there?
A Niner? A Niner? Well, I'm a lion.
Well, you're going down.
Well, okay. Well, we went down. Boy, painfully. But we won't talk about that. No, I don't need to be. Mateus Morgado. Football, soccer?
Soccer.
Apart from Brazil, who's going to win the Super Bowl this weekend?
You're asking the wrong guy because I don't even know who's playing the Super Bowl.
Well, I said the Chiefs or the 49ers?
49ers.
49ers, okay. There we go. Thank you.
Good.
Okay, Alan Isambard. The most serious question on everybody's lips. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
I don't even know who's playing, to be honest with you.
The Detroit Lions and some other team. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I'll say Lions.
There we go. Thank you very much. Excellent. Detroit Lions to win the Super Bowl. Maybe next year. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who you got in the Super Bowl?
49ers.
49ers. Why?
I don't know. Just feel like Purdy needs a little love. Feel like he's not appreciated enough.
He was appreciated against the Lions. We don't talk about that. The big man. Here we go. Big question. 49ers or Chiefs? Who have you got?
I think the Chiefs, they always seem to dig in deep, and they always find that little bit of extra.
Maxwell Matcha. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Chiefs or the 49ers?
The 49ers.
By how many?
13.
13. What's your throw like? Frederick Manning. I know it's your ball. Who's your pick to win the Super Bowl?
The 49ers.
Why?
Because I think they're better than the Chiefs, and they'll outplay them.
They'll outplay them. Can we get one big roll tide for camera?
Roll Tide.
Roll tide. Okay, thank you very much. Right, you can have your ball back in a bit. Chiefs or 49ers?
Chiefs.
Okay, go.
Chiefs.
Go.
Chiefs. Chiefs.
Go.
Chiefs all day.
Chiefs all day.
Patrick Mahomes.
Last one.
49ers.
Hey, there we go. Gotta be different. There we go. Thank you, guys. One football. James Overbeck. Who's going to win the Super Bowl this Sunday?
I hope neither teams.
Well, that's going to be a bit of a problem.
I hope the Detroit Lions come in.
Yes.
I hope they come in at halftime. After something happens, a huge fight breaks out, the 49ers can't play. So then the Detroit Lions come out, and I think they'll win.
My man. I'm a Lions fan too. This is the man. Are you a football fan?
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to win on Sunday?
49ers.
Okay, why?
Because they're cool.
Because they're cool. Fair enough. Good man, good man. You sure, Julian? Have you decided who's going to win?
Me.
You? Okay, good. See? Thank you. I know you're a baseball man, not a football man. Who have we got in the Super Bowl? Chiefs, 49ers?
Definitely the Chiefs.
Definitely the Chiefs. Why?
Just honestly a better overall team, like more confident with them.
Better overall team. Thank you very much. Hut, hut. Here's a guy who was a linebacker if ever I saw one, Danny Formal. Who you got in the Super Bowl? Chiefs, 49ers?
I don't want the Chiefs to win just because they win a lot. So I'm a 49ers fan.
49ers fan, the big guy. 49ers fan. There we go.
So, Xander, I'm feeling like it's 50-50 49ers Chiefs and 50-50 I know about football and I have no clue about football.
Yeah,
I think guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you're pretty spot on there. I think enough of these guys obviously just live, under a rock, out of a suitcase,
at the race car
somewhere
track.
on the road,
Yeah, exactly.
at the race car track, and the world just happens to happen around them.
That's it.
Oh, man. So much fun here with Henry going around the pits. Henry, did you have any unexpected encounters that missed or ended up on the cutting room floor to tell us about?
Well, there was the one where, we saw the one where Thomas Neville almost throwing it through the awning window of the great kart racing team. The only person to drop the ball, Mike Mollison. It's the only ball he drops in karting normally around the place.
Well, he's a 40-year karter. I don't think he ever played football ever. So
yeah, no. But I mean, you know what? It's a lot of fun doing those little interviews. You know, obviously this is a championship Sunday, not just here, but also in Las Vegas as well. And I think I wouldn't trust Dalton Haynes or Harley Keeble to build me anything either.
No.
But we had a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, those two definitely could play football. At least they were tackling the heck out of each other. So
it was looking good there between the two of them, right until Dalton decided to scatter all the parts.
Wow. Yeah, then the gloves were off at that
It
point.
went downhill.
There was no race director, like you said. Let's talk to another one of the Pro X30 drivers getting set to go later this morning. How about it from yesterday, fighting for a podium all day long, and second in the pre-final, Diego Ramos. He's standing by with Alex.
Thank you, Xander. Diego, a good way to bounce back from last month's Homestead events. We mentioned before the interview how the track changed after practice. Did that play a factor into the results later in the day?
Yeah, for sure. In the practice, we were really fast. And I think for the race, the track changed a little bit. And then we were missing like 110 every lap. And 110 in 20 laps is 2 seconds. We did some change for today. I think the go-kart will work good. And we'll see. I think we can challenge with the front guys.
Yeah, I mean, you had the luxury of starting closer to the front compared to other drivers. I mean, what are kind of the key points to go out there and win in the classic X30 with how competitive and how aggressive they were yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday I think the first, second, and third we split a little bit of the group. We didn't change main positions, but for sure today will be different. Like find off the championship. Everyone closest will be interesting race.
All right, thank you, Diego. Good luck.
Thank you.
For me, that's always one of the interesting things about a championship weekend. You get all these drivers who are in the championship who are kind of thinking about the championship, and those outliers who are not, right? Yeah. I'm just here to win. I don't care what you guys are doing. I'll go elbows up. I'm not worried about it. I like that dichotomy where you have a couple of different guys with different mindsets for each race.
And then you have the really dangerous ones, the ones that are thinking of championship points, but also race final wins as well. A quick update, the stoppage that we saw in Micro Swift, that was Marcelo Flores, the SLA karting driver. We didn't see it on camera, but kart rolled, driver exit stage left, driver gets up, walks over, sits down in the barrier, realises, ooh, this hurts. So we haven't got an update on him yet. He did walk into the back of the ambulance. They did have a stretcher out for him, but he went, no. Walk into the back of the ambulance. The kart is decidedly second hand. We shall see whether we get Marcelo back on track at all today, but we certainly wish him well. We missed out on K100 Masters crack warm-up. That's what was going on there. Miguel Mia, we mentioned earlier, he will be assured of the championship. But I've got a feeling, Xander, that there are two idiots standing behind me, and I don't. and they're both wearing Sony kart race suits.
Yeah, two of three guys behind us, two idiots, and the other one is Alexander Searle. Alex.
Thank you, Xander. Yeah, here with two Lego masters here. You're able to actually get away with the win there, Harley, and the Lego. Couldn't get a win yesterday. That we were so close. I mean, what are kind of some of the things that you can take away from yesterday to go into today?
Don't mess up the start. I mean, that would help a lot, and probably don't drop a wheel in the pre-final. But apart from that, I think we should be good. Obviously, get a good qualifying. I just don't need to be on pole, just need to be there to win it.
Yeah, Dalton, you and your Lego buddy over here were kind of in the middle of it all yesterday. He was able to escape it. You were stuck in the pack there for most of that race. You mentioned to me afterwards you guys found some things. I mean, are you confident for today?
Absolutely, yeah. We qualified 18th yesterday and got some stuff on our tires in the pre-final. If we can just get a good qualifying today, we'll have some really good pace.
All right, thank you guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Henry, a couple drivers who had good speed yesterday. We know how good Harley Keeble was right up there, kind of reeling in the eventual race winner at the end, was kind of cutting into that gap, and Dalton was in the middle of that fight as well. There's a lot of data that came in, of course, from that race. They all sat down at Saudi Racing USA, PK Sports. What are we going to do? What are we going to change? I expect both those guys to come out of the gate with a better package here for Sunday.
Yeah, and it was interesting what Harley was saying about what not to do. I think what the whole class needs not to do is don't give Donovan Bonilla a 2-second head start at the end of the first lap. You know, you've got to learn. But yeah, and to be fair to Donovan, who we're on track now with Junior X30, another class that is absolutely nose to tail in terms of the points. And 12 points separates Ardiles and DeTulio. But moving back to the X30 Pro, yeah, Bonilla, a driver that we're watching come of age, I think is the best way to describe it, in front of our very eyes, maturing as a racer, as a driver, as a person, and yeah, staying incredibly humble as well.
Well, the big thing I think about Donovan Bonilla was, he had a win here at the Winter Series last year. That was kind of the breakout win for him, running for Rawlson Performance Group. A lot of big dogs we know at that team, right? So it's hard to kind of blossom through to a certain extent when you got Ryan there, but Ryan's pushing all his teammates to do as best they can. He came out of the gate there, then of course gets through the Supernats, wins that Supernats. He's got the 2 months as a Supernats champion. All that momentum rolling in here into 2024, and he's backed it up with a couple of wins. Again, you want to have that reputation. Don't give me the opportunity to pull away, right? Because that's a great rep to have, man. You know the pace is there, and if they do it again, he's gonna make it happen. He just seems to, if you give him the time to put the consistent laps in, and you're not going to catch him again.
Yes. Now the checkered flag goes out. Now I did look at some of the comments on yesterday's stream, and there's a few people that were triggered yesterday by our coverage of warm-up. This is just warm-up. It's not qualifying. Yes, we're not discussing the on-track action. That's because it's just a 5-minute systems check, and it is our opportunity to bring you up to date with the storyline. So to the rather upset gentleman who says, too much talking, not enough talking about on-track. Well, sir, we'll get do plenty of talking about on-track when it comes to qualifying and the premium coverage. But we've got 230 drivers here from all around the world. There are storylines. There are people behind the stories. There's all sorts of things. The 2024 SKUSA season is kicking off. There's lots of new things to discuss to bring you, the kart chase universe, the karting community, up to speed.
And remember, it's warm up for us here in Kart Chaser as well. We're warming our voices up. Yeah. Everybody's out there warming up. We're doing our own systems checks as well. And that's what, listen, warm-up's about being out there and cruising around. You can look at live time. You can watch warm-up. There's no real reason to get too aggressive. A lot of drivers will try different things. Nobody's on the same tires. They're on used tires that they're using for warm-up. Once we go qualifying and put the fresh stickers on, then we can get serious and start talking about what's happening on track. Otherwise, these drivers are shaking things out here right now. We're taking the opportunity to kind of set the stage in terms of the championship battle. You talked about X30 Junior. It's Diego Ardiles, Jackson Wolney, Enzo Vidmontien, Sarah Bradley, and Ty Fisher. That's the top 5 in points before drops.
Before drops. Again, a big Junior X30 grid. Now we move ahead to X30 Pro. A couple of hellos. I know that from Canada, Colin Livingston says hi to the pair of us. The good doctor, the good DD2 doctor, Mr. Livingston. And from the Dallas Motorplex, Dallas Kart Motorplex, Mike Jones has been tuning in and watching and says hi. He's looking forward to Kart Chaser heading towards his circuit later this year. So good morning to both of you. Good morning to everybody around the world, wherever you are. A big hello and welcome to this event, and we're glad to have you on board. If you're not a subscriber, get to subscribing now, innit? Here we are. It's the professional way of saying spend $9.99 a month and you get not just this event, but every single one of Kart Chase's events, and there will be more than 40 of them this year.
Pro X30 onto the racetrack, brought to you by Speed Lab Racing Engines. Alessandro DiTullio rolling in with the championship lead by 12 markers over Donovan Bonilla, who most definitely improved his chances of winning a title with that victory yesterday. And again, with that one drop for each of these drivers, everybody with a different storyline coming in. Some driver have a really good drop, so they're not going to change that much in the overall points. Others with a low result, they're going to drop that one, and they could be down in, again, they could be like a Ryan Norberg down in 6th spot, who still has a very real chance of winning this championship.
Yeah, and there are also going to be drivers that haven't got a shot at the championship, but not because they're not quick enough, just because things haven't gone their way yesterday and they didn't go their way the first 2 rounds. So you're going to have drivers being ultra aggressive, saying, right, okay, this is my last chance to get a podium at the Winter Series, and I'm going to go all guns blazing. And of course, there's other drivers around them that are going to be thinking, and these drivers will know. They know who's going for a championship and who might be a little bit more careful.
Yep.
And they'll know who's got nothing to lose and who's going to be more aggressive. So for the drivers like DiTullio, who runs a little bit wide coming there out of turn number 9, it's going to be a case of, right, who's behind me? Is this person going to be going in straight away, or is this person thinking like me and maybe being a little bit more cautious?
One driver outside the top 10 in points who was really impressive yesterday, but just needs to dial things up a bit. That was Nicholas Terlecki.
Yes.
For Franklin Motorsports and the Hosts Driver Development Program. Nicholas had a lot of pace, was right up there in the second, started on the second row, and was in the middle of the fight for a time. Got shuffled back a little bit before it was all said and done. But good pace out of the drivers here. He and Josh Holtz as well. Both those drivers currently in the top 10. Holtz in 10th spot here in the morning warm-up. Again, it's just the warm-up. Drivers just dialing things in right now. Terlecki up in 6th. Holtz goes down out of 15th. Back and forth. Again, just drivers getting an opportunity maybe to test something they tried from yesterday. Hey, we did the main event. I want to try this one little thing. It is 70 degrees, so the temperatures are close to where they were yesterday. So, again, there's Josh Holtz right there in the 22. Again, the opportunity to try something to see if you can go a little bit better. One driver, folks, that definitely had a great day yesterday, a perfect day to be real in the Pro Shifter category. That is Mateus Morgado standing by right now with David Land.
Yeah, Mateus Morgado, Rob said it perfectly. It was a perfect day for you yesterday. How do you carry that momentum into today?
Yeah, excited for today, excited to see what we can do. And yeah, I will give my best and try to get this win and the championship.
One of the advantages of this format, of course, is that you get to run on the same track the next day. Was there anything you learned yesterday that you can take into today to go even faster?
Definitely, at the end of every day, we see what we can improve, and we try to work on that. So I hope we are a bit better today. And yeah.
Danny Formal was able to go back-to-back in race 1 and race 2. Mateus Morgado's looking to go back-to-back in race 3 and 4.
Yeah, listen, there is no indication that he's going to let up at all, right? You know, a driver like Mateus, a team like PSL Kart, they're only going to make that kart a little bit better. It's not going to go in the other direction.
Yeah, and yesterday, Mateus Morgado's goal was simply, just prevent Danny Formal from wrapping the title up. Okay, it will still take a bit of misfortune for Danny to not be crowned champion, but Morgado has taken the title fight down to the last day, and that's all you could do. You allow your nearest rival on a grid that is smaller than most, only 11 drivers, 12 drivers in Pro Shifter, and that means that the worst you could do is get 11th place points. So you're not losing as many points if you have a bad result, but you give a driver 2 wins to start the season, and then it's going to be pretty tough to catch. But yeah, Morgado yesterday, that win will give him a lot of confidence in terms of learning how to drive these shifter karts, because of course, even though he's a world champion, that's a single speed world championship, the OK. Now it's a whole different beast. And I was speaking to one of the Maranello drivers, Chris Farino's dad. This is Chris's 5th time out in a shifter. And yeah, he's moved across. Yeah, he's 1.5 seconds a lap off the pace. The consistency's not there, but he's 1.5 seconds behind a world champion Morgado, a professional kart racer,
a 4-time Superdats winner.
Yeah, and of course you think that you're at the very, very elite level. Every single one of the drivers you're going to see in Shifter is world class, and so for a driver like Chris Farino coming into the class, yeah, it can be a bit frustrating. You're used to racing up near the front in, the other class that you used to race, and now it's back to the drawing board. So, anyone who's getting around these karts, within a couple of seconds of world champion is doing a mighty fine job.
Yeah, let's be real, right? Gearbox racing is a different discipline. It's a really different way to drive. You have to attack the corners in a much different way. And again, like I say to a lot of young drivers when they come into a new category, don't base yourself on the guys you're racing with.
No.
Like you said, you got a 4-time Supernats winner in Danny Formal, who's a professional race car driver now. Yep. Of course, professional karter with former world champion Mateus Morgado. You have to focus on yourself and gauge yourself on your speed that you gain. Make sure you're always picking up more pace. And that's kind of the key, I think, for any young driver getting into a new program. Just keep learning, keep trying to close on those top drivers because they're not going to make mistakes.
No, and it's almost like, when you move from a single-speed kart to a six-speed shifter kart, it's almost like, when you see a driver and they're a rookie, they're a novice driver, they've got the cross on the back of the kart. Sometimes I say, look, you're racing against your lap timer. That's what you start out. That's what every single driver, they just race against their lap timer. Yep. They've got to improve. And again, Chris is quick over one lap, but it's getting 22 of those laps at the same time. That's the skill that takes time.
Yeah, don't we all want to roll in after a run and look down at the micron, the gauge, and see the numbers super close together? Three, you want that consistency of the three numbers. And listen, doing that in a single speed and doing it in a shifter kart where there's so much more going on. There's those more variables, right? There's so much more in terms of braking and rolling into the center. There's so much more in terms of getting that downshifting done correctly and rolling that center and keeping the kart balanced. There's just so much to drive a top-level shifter car, especially like the KZ power plant machines here. And you look at the drivers that they're going against. We talked about Morgado. You talked about Formal. Alan Isambard's been running shifter karts for a handful of years, and he knows this racetrack very well. So anybody battling against these drivers here, again, has to gauge themselves on that micron. And the final warm-up session is underway. Pro Shifter and Master Shifter have rolled out on track. We're essentially going to classify Skitchy Barnes as a Pro Shifter driver here. So we're just the Pro Shifters now on the racetrack. This category brought to you by PSL Karting and Inter MS. After we're wrapped up here for the morning warm-up, we'll go right into qualifying. The drivers in the KA 100 Junior category set to go. We're ready to roll in about 3 minutes or 4 minutes time. Right at it, back into qualifying. Now, not more warm-up. It's all about real time and getting the job done.
Yeah, the first championship points will be available starting in the next session on track, not this one. And I have to say, we were looking at the Sodi kart there of Alan Isambard. I have to apologise to Adam, to Alan. I did him a disservice. I'm a big Detroit Lions fan, and I picked up on his lack of football knowledge. And when he said he didn't know who was in the Super Bowl, I grabbed my opportunity to have a little joke with him. And so he's a Lions fan now.
Yeah,
he thinks they're going to win tonight, which could be tricky, maybe next year. But again, I'm sorry to Alan, all in good fun.
Indeed, that was funny, kind of watching some of these guys coming out like, I have no idea. I didn't know tell me who's playing. And again, that's the bottom line. There are people that love football, others that are focused on what they focus on, whether it's kart racing or your football overseas, actual soccer, which is actually a sport that's growing here in North America, as we know as well, or baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it, right? Not everybody follows NFL football, although the Super Bowl will be a massively watched game.
I was going to say, you have to do, in my opinion, you have to do pretty well to avoid the Super Bowl. If you don't know what the Super Bowl is, you are living under a rock somewhere. It's not as though it's not making nationwide news morning, noon, and night. We should start, I think, how many shots of Taylor Swift will we get this evening?
So Formal, Carrera, Isambard, Morgado, the four drivers we expect to battle up front. We saw good speed out of Justin White yesterday as well. Mike Riccio in the Magic Kart USA entry, very strong. Cooper Beckman, we'll see if he bounces back here. So again, Vincenzo Saraceno was good. There's a really solid field of drivers here in this Pro Shifter class. But again, just a couple minutes away when they wrap up their morning warm-up here for Pro Shifter. We'll go right into, as Henry had said, the first opportunity for points when you're thinking about trying to win a championship. We'll roll into qualifying with KA 100 Junior, Mini Swift, KA 100 Senior, all the way through the rotation. Our live coverage, the free coverage continues through qualifying. If you want to watch the wheel-to-wheel action in the pre-final, which is set to start at 11 o'clock later this morning, you'll have to sign up for the premium membership here on Kart Chaser. So if you intend on watching all the coverage here on Championship Sunday, get yourself signed up, $9.99 a month. And again, full coverage throughout the season of the SuperKart USA Pro Tour, other programs, 40-plus events on the docket here for 2024. There's Skitchy Barnes right there in the 609, the pride of Bermuda, in the Bermuda Sports Hall of Fame, multi-year president of the Bermuda Kart Club. He's done a lot for the sport and now working with a number of young racers over in Bermuda to get them dialed in as they continue to grow that facility, that club that runs out at Rubith Southside Speedway in Bermuda. I've had a chance to be at a couple of their events, 2 of their street racing events, and actually ran in their Lindo's Grand Prix last year in Hamilton, which was absolutely fantastic. A great little racetrack. A ton of people came out to watch. And again, for a country with a population of just over 65,000 people, they had a bunch of people come out. We had a lot of fun there.
Yeah, and it's things like that are great. Where a country like Bermuda, you can get almost the entire island behind an event, and they can, it's great when you get somebody with a passion and enthusiasm to capture people's imagination and their desire to do something. And of course, I remember I think it was in the Olympics in Tokyo. A Bermudan athlete won the triathlon. Won the female triathlon, and of course the whole country, was up in arms. The same in Fiji won a medal as well. So, but yeah, I remember the Bermudan lady winning the female triathlon at the Olympics, which was a remarkable achievement for the country.
So indeed, the final checker flag here, warm-up coming from Aaron Likens, the starter for SuperKart USA. And we will wrap things up and go into qualifying. KA100 Junior, we've already talked a little bit about the battle we're going to see there, and that's what we'll be doing throughout qualifying in the pre-finals. There's Chris Farina right there, the number 36. A little practice start.
Yes, and that's something that even Mateus Morgado has to learn. There is the number 10 Kart as well, doing likewise. And you can see that the acceleration, almost the front wheels almost being lifted off the ground there. Nicholas de Andrea, the rocket racing driver, and there is everyone doing a practice start, which you are allowed to do. You are permitted at the end of the session, not halfway through the session, but on the slowdown lap, that is something that you are permitted to do. And getting these 6-speed shifter carts off the line is an art unto itself.
So I have confirmed with David Cole from eCardyNews.com, the pro shifter category not wrapped up for Danny Formal. No. If Morgado can have another perfect day like he did yesterday, it all depends on what happens to Danny.
Yeah.
There's still an opportunity. That one's still wide open. We can't call that one for Danny Formal, even though he's got 2 wins and a second place finish. There's so many other points up for grabs. We talked about point for pole, all the points you get to the pre-finals, and 10 points for fast lap of the race as well.
And we saw a little bit of that yesterday when Morgado got the lead. He instantly started defending to try and sort of suck Danny Formal into a battle that would cost Danny a few extra places. So, Danny can afford to sit behind Mateus for the rest of the day, and I think that should still secure the title, but it isn't done yet, and it still could be quite close. But warm-ups are finished. Now the real business begins. Points up for grabs. It's the start of timed qualifying.
So very short sessions here for these qualifying runs, and for KA100 Junior and a couple of other categories, we'll have 2 different groups.
Yep.
Based on what we saw yesterday, about 4 laps, maybe 5, but probably 4 laps they'll be able to put in the books. We'll see which one's going to be fastest. We saw drivers go quick on lap 3, lap 4. But the bottom line is you got to get some heat built into these MG tires. You got to push hard because you got to make sure that you're going to be ready to roll. And open track. We talked a little bit about the strategy of it as well. Yeah, you want the toe, but you don't want to get checked up by somebody in front of you. You have to have that magic lap. You have to position yourself correctly so that you're good on lap 3 and lap 4.
And the drivers you're looking at on your screen now, the ones that got out of the pre-grid straight away, looking at the number 8, Ethan Sky Majensic in that rocket racing entry there, that really distinctive black and yellow kart. They're the ones that have got the best opportunity to get that extra lap in before the checkered flag falls. So we'll wait to see who comes in there. I've got to say, that's on Ethan, that Stars and Stripes on the top of his crash helmet. Very, very smart paint indeed.
So again, drivers out here for the first couple of laps, qualifying, rolling now for round number 4 of the SuperKarts USA Winter Series, the 6th edition of this winter program that, of course, leads into the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour that kicks off in March with the Winter Nationals this year to the Orlando Kart Complex. We say hello to those of you tuning in to Kart Chaser here on a beautiful Sunday morning here in Homestead. My name is Rob Howden, joined by Henry Beaudet. We'll have Xander Clemens with us during times throughout the day. He's also doing some work inside the big track here this weekend as the Academy Winter Series is underway here to capping off that program. But nonetheless, we have championships on the line here today for the Winter Series. Again, always good, I think, for young drivers to be able to get the success here, get the momentum to lead them into the primary season.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking there, we'll wait for some times to come up. Nathan Dupuis is fastest at the moment, a Canadian driver. 51.913. Of course, this is the slower of the two groups that was decided based on happy hour, as it were, the final practice on Friday. It's Luis Cedeno, Travis Petit, Eli Steinbrook, and Luke Tal, who are the pace setters now. Times tumbling as drivers complete their second flying lap. So have a look down. We've got on this in this class, we've got 25 drivers out there. Aiden and Nicotra, 50.76. Oh, somebody has gone for a spin coming out of turn number 1. Driver just getting back in the saddle. So it's Nicotra, Tal, Cedeno, Petit, Steinbrook, and Dupuis.
Yeah, Dupuis was in the news earlier this week, making the move to the Super Tune crew on the Parolin chassis.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. He's obviously getting used to a new kart, having driven the OTK product for the last number of years for the young driver. We'll see what he ends up with here. Travis Pettit, a driver we saw last year as one of the top mini Swift drivers, has really come out of the gate decently to start off the season. Again, mini to juniors, a big jump, right? Bigger chassis. Everything's a bit different. And Travis Pettit, who ran last year, he and Lucas Palacio, teammates at Trinity Karting Group, and on the Kart Republic, kind of battled it out a little bit. And Pettit was able to win at the Summer Nationals as well in the mini class, moving up here into KA 100 Junior. He's in the second group, a little slower, of course, in the happy hour on Friday, but again, all finding speed. Sodi Kart driver of the 835, Luke Tal. That's the driver currently up front in this category at 50.131. And yesterday, let's just jump into this, Henry. Surprising to me a little bit, the drivers who were in the second group, the top guys, actually did pretty well in terms of overall net gains battling against the guys in the faster group.
Yes, it was in every class apart from X30 Pro that you saw drivers in the slower group, who should be outside the top 25 or so. They were all, every session had at least one or two names that crept into the top 15. And Luke Tal at the moment, a 50.122. We'll see where that, pans out. But as the checkered flag is about to come out, we're getting a word that, that would be about the top 16, top 17 yesterday. Tal, Nicotra, Petit, Cedeno, Manning, your top 5.
I always look at how much faster first is from second. So if you're first and you're 3 or 4 tenths faster than the rest, well, maybe you're going to be further up in the order, right? Just over a tenth and a half Tal quicker than Nicotra. So that's probably going to give him a little bit of breathing room to be in a little better spot of the 51 drivers that we have ready to roll qualifying here.
Yeah, and I think, you look at Travis Petit there, nearly 4 tenths slower than Luke Tal. That's probably going to be, a bit beyond, from Petit on back, unless somebody has a major issue in this next session, then I think that most of the drivers, if not all the drivers you see going on now, should beat a 50.5 lap, which is what Petit Cedeno put down. But Luke Tal and Aiden and Nicotra in with a shout of making some progress.
Next group rolling out onto the track, as we said, Tal, Nicotra, Pettit, Cedeno, and Manning. Frederick Manning, the top 5 of that first group. And again, the remainder of the category rolling out here. And again, as we'll look, lap 4, the best for the top 4. A couple drivers, Manning and Roberto Renderos, lap 3. So top 4 drivers, lap 4. So they were able to capitalize on that final circuit and use all the opportunities. Drivers out here warming things up, as we know. This is going to be a good battle here in this KA 100 Junior Championship. I think we're all looking forward to seeing how this one plays out here, because there, again, it's just so many drivers lined up. We saw some great racing in front of this category between Sebastian Garzon and Diego Ardiles. Can anybody else come up and potentially battle them? You know, Enzo Vidmontien's quite a ways back. I think it's really come down to Garzon and Ardiles. And not only that, Henry, not because they've got the great points, is that they've just been on the top of the charts all series long. Like, nobody's been in there to battle with them almost.
No, the consistency is key, because, of course, with 51 drivers, and we saw this yesterday specifically in the pre-final, everyone's on track together. You know, if you miss in this 5-minute session, you could go not just from first to fifth, you could go from first to 25th, and 100%. Then you are in the middle of a snarling pack of go-karts where anything could happen, as we saw yesterday.
In the starts through 2 and 3, and then the diving into the infield section. The starts are crazy. If you're back in 25th, you don't know where you're coming out the other side.
No, and of course, you could be able to survive, you know, karts go up and then someone spins in front of you, you get a bump penalty, and, you know, you're not dropping 10 places, you're dropping 30 places at the end of a pre-final. Aidan Lecotre, still second fastest. We talked about this yesterday. He represents the Homestead karting team, so he is a club racer predominantly here. And so trying out a national series for the first time, and that's good to see. And Lecotre, he can say, okay, there's some big names behind me that race all around the country, and yeah, I can compete with our local team, and so maybe we'll see Aidan a little bit more this year in the Pro Series.
Tracking Diego Ardiles there, who was so good in the opening rounds in January for Sebastian Garzon with the win yesterday. Garzon on lap number 2 goes to P1, Ardiles goes to second, so quite immediately they jump up there. In fact, Luke Tall falling down to 4th spot is Max Christia as well. He'll go up to 3rd position. It's a 49.809 for Sebastian Garzon. He hit Diego Ardiles in the championship battle. And again, let's just jump into this real quick. If you qualify on the pole, it's 10-point bonus. These guys are so tight up top that 10 points, it could start that cascade that leads to a championship.
Could be absolutely critical. Now, there's the 850 on track. Now, so that's Garzon in the 850 kart, the Orsolin Racing. There is Ardiles. Now, yesterday in time qualifying, they were running nose to tail. Oh, what a surprise. They're doing likewise there. Now, Garzon puts a drive, and he's going to get a nice push down the back straight there by is the number 895 by Enzo Vidmontien.
Yeah. Not a bad pusher.
No, and so another very, very quick driver. Garzon's got his best lap time down to a 49.51. Ardiles a 49.56. 0.05 of a second, 10 championship points. But of course, you've got Vidmontien in the mix. What's to say that he's not going to get a good slipstream and take 10 points off the pair of them?
And remember, he's 3rd place in points as well. Now, I don't know what the drops are, who has the best drop. Obviously, we got 3 good results for Garzon and Ardiles. You know, Vidmontien, I think he's got one that's not a great result. You drop that one, he could be back in the fight. You never know with a perfect day.
Well, Vidmontien goes 4th as they cross the line, but oh, look at that. Nobody yet. There's still karts coming across the line, and even though Garzon and Ardiles didn't improve on their final lap, everybody else behind them did. They're still 1-2 by a 10th of a second.
So a huge start for Sebastian Garzon, 10-point bonus, and look how much faster, how slower he was. 0.02 of a second. He did a 49.512 on lap 3, a 49.514 on lap number 4. Very consistent on top, a 0.5 of a second quicker than Diego Ardiles, and most definitely Sebastian Garzon. Draws first blood.
Yep.
He had a 10-point lead coming in. He adds 10 points here right now. Again, you say it's a 20-point lead, but there's going to be a drop, so things are going to change quite a bit. But for Garzon, the bottom line is he's got the 10 points. He got it, and Ardiles did not. That's the other thing. When you're battling against the driver for a championship battle, you literally stole it away. It's a 20-point swing to a certain extent. But Garzon and Ardiles, your championship leaders, are going to start on the front row of the pre-final.
Yeah, good performances. Michael McGoy, 3rd fastest. Ty Fisher, 4th. Naomi Garcia Great drive from her yesterday on the Sony kart, the young lady from Trinidad. She was 5th fastest. Christea was 6th. Jackson Walney 7th. Vonchev, Arnardo, and Della Vecchia, your top 10. Enzo Vidmontien only 12th. I think he may have sacrificed that lap to give Garzon a bit of a push. Luke Tal just outside the top 10.
Wow,
that is not a bad performance at all. So the Dutchman, I think 12th or 13th place I just saw briefly there before the screen changed. So that is, impressive for Luke, and we'll see if he can maintain that as we move on to the pre-finals later.
Yeah, I think a couple of drivers impressed me there. Garcia, we talked about the fact that she was in the middle of the fight yesterday, so she still got that pace. Vidmontien, 3rd in points. He's the guy with the opportunity to potentially, be the outlier, dive in there. But, to qualify 12th, man, he's got to put some work in to get himself back up to the front in that pre-final. So this really feels like it's coming down to Garzon versus Ardila. I don't know if there'll be anybody else who is in the middle of the fight here. So we'll watch that, of course, unfold when we go pre-final racing. 11 o'clock scheduled start time for KA100 Junior. Right now, we're a minute away from sending the drivers in the Mini Swift category. 1 down, 7 to go in Mini Swift. Henry, we're underway with qualifying, and I believe I hear the engines. Are they rolling out yet? Not quite. Time to get things underway. There they go. Finally off the track right at 9:20. We're on the time-specific schedule. And again, this will be a great fight as well in the Mini Swift category. 10 points up for grabs in qualifying.
Yes, indeed. And, of course, the drivers to look for in this class, you've got Troy Ferguson, kart 143, Royce Vega, who leads after drops at the moment in kart 133. You've got number 175 of Marco Samut. He leads before drop. Scores are taken into account. And number 195, Ashton Woon. Now, I did notice a bit of a scramble to get Mika Baruch's kart onto the grid in time. But he's just out there, Mika, and he'll be there. But watch also Julian Rivera, the Flying Condor from Ecuador. And we wait to see whether Parker Ives in kart number 148 goes out. Good to see that. Good to see that Darren Kidd made it this morning. I spoke to Mummy Kidd yesterday, and she goes, we were a bit late to the grid and we messed it up for him. But I have been promised that the biggest dog that I've ever seen, Frank. Frank will be making an appearance here. Frank, he's a big boy, is Frank, and if you're not careful, he eats at least 2 Micromax drivers for lunch, does Frank. But it's good to see that Darren out there. He's the one with the pink Hoosier race suit with the white polka dots on it, much to his displeasure.
Mini Swift brought to you by Trinity Karting Group and Kart Republic. And again, we talked about the drivers who are in the middle of the championship fight here. We'll see whether or not they come to the forefront as they normally do here in these categories. All told, in the Mini Swift class, 22 drivers, 1 group on qualifying here. Marco Samet out of the gate with the fastest time, a 53.704 out of the gate. Remember, we'll wait to lap 3, lap 4 before we really decide what's happening up front. Julian Rivera, Valentino Santian, Royce Vega, and Benja Fernandez, who came into the weekend as the point leader. Benja currently P5. He dropped down to 8th place in the points as of the result of the issues yesterday. So we'll see whether or not he fights back here today. He uses yesterday as his drop.
And I'm looking there, Parker Ives hasn't gone out, so I know he's here. He had a couple of laps this morning. Every young driver wants to be out there and racing. That's probably a wise choice. If he's got, maybe he said his lower back and his kidney was hurting, and they did check him out yesterday. But I think maybe a wise choice. He'll be devastated to miss out today, but there's a lot more racing to go. And if you race today and hurt yourself even more, and you put yourself out of action for longer, and of course Parker and his family, they've got their eyes on the Pro Series, the Pro Tour when that gets underway.
And indeed, give him the 6 weeks for that one, right? The concept is to make sure he gets a chance to be healthy. And this track, let's be real, isn't for the faint at heart. It's a rough racetrack. Not so much even the surface. There is some rough areas on the surface, but you have to attack the curbs here as well. So
exactly, and as you
not
look at
easy
that,
on the body.
Yeah, some of the drop-offs coming out of the corner. You just saw one of the Bennetts there. That was, I think, was that the number? That was Troy Ferguson, I think, running a little bit wide. Yeah, you just drop off there, and all it takes is for that one rear wheel to drop, and you bounce, you're jarred in the seat, and any back or rib injury is then instantly exacerbated.
Marco Samet rather up front right now, but he goes quicker again, 52.893. Only a couple drivers able to get below the 53 second mark right now. Josh Bergman does as well. He'll go P1 right now. Bergman in the 140, a 52.870 for Bergman. Samet second, Rivera third, Santillan fourth, Katowski fifth. Artelian now in the 6th spot. Royce Vega down there in 7th. Troy Ferguson, yesterday's winner, all the way in 12th right now, but he's still got another lap coming. I believe lap 4 potentially, because he was able to get out front. We'll see.
Yeah, Grayson Walcott and Darren Kidd, 10th and 11th. That's impressive, both those drivers. But okay, checkered flag is waving. At the moment, the order is Bergman, Samut, Rivera, Santillan, and Katowski. Nico Katowski has been very impressive today. How will the order change as they come across the line starting now? Well, first of all, it's Vega that goes top. Then Fernandez to second. Bergman improves his time, but actually drops to third. Samut doesn't improve his time, neither does Rivera. Well, Dallas's own Royce Vega.
Yeah, but scroll down to Troy Ferguson. Down all the way in the 15th position, 7/10 off in terms of pace. So something wrong with Troy Ferguson, who was able to get a win yesterday. Not sure what happened there with Troy, all the way down outside the top 10, 15th for Troy. Royce Vega, though, his teammate ends up P1 at 52.776. You know the Bennett crew is going to be sitting down and overlaying data and saying, what is wrong here? Our leader all the way to the tail of the top 15.
Well, but they got one kart, top of the charts, one kart down at 15. So Royce Vega, he takes the first 10 points on offer in qualifying. That's going to help him because he is second before drops, but on drops, he is your points leader over Marco Samut. Benja Fernandez, Josh Bergman, Samut 4th, Rivera 5th, but Mini Swift, we saw that grid positions, yes, they matter, but not quite as much as other classes because you can win from pretty much anywhere.
True enough, but those 10 points, of course, very crucial for Royce Vega, who rolled in here second place on the overall total points before the drop. He is less than 20 points behind, 19 points behind Marco Samet. So again, there's the opportunity potentially for him to have a perfect day here. That's the idea, right? Get things started early, rocket in qualifying, work your way forward, and obviously starting on the pre-final pole position. So an opportunity for Royce Vega to potentially come away. But as Henry again alluded to, once we get racing, the pack forms, and you could be 15th and you could be first in 3 laps. It doesn't take much to get back to the very front. Although, again, 7/10 of a second off there for Troy Ferguson. You wonder what happened there, if they missed just something, whatever it was, or if he was just caught with the wrong people on track.
Well, a couple of drivers on the last flying lap. I think Grayson Walcott was one of them. In the inner loop, 1 or 2 drivers ran a bit wide. Now, I wonder if Ferguson was involved in that. I think we can have another look at that last lap of Microswift qualifying as we see the drivers by the tech scales. There's Darren Kidd in the pink and polka dot race suit. Yes. Now, that one of those was Walcott. The other kart did look a little bit Bennicky. Yes, it was Ferguson. There we go, Rob. Ferguson and Walcott coming together.
On the last lap,
on the last lap. So that's why Troy didn't improve. Big well done to the kart chaser camera crew who were out there. They were getting a little bit upset yesterday that we were saying well done for the action replays and the camera guys were not getting enough love. So well done, lads.
There you have, folks, round number 3 and 4. Today, round 4, Championship Sunday. Today's coverage brought to you by SimCraft here of the SuperKarts USA 2024 Winter Series. Again, the prelude into the Pro Tour, the Winter Nationals, Spring Nationals, and Summer Nationals. We'll head to Orlando for the Winter Nationals this year. It's SKUSA's first Pro Tour trip to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati for the Spring Nationals. And, of course, back to Newcastle Motorsports Park in July to cap things off with the Summer Nats. Should be a tremendous race there. And, of course, championships all up for grabs at the Summer Nationals. I had a chance to race that event myself last year, and I love racing at Newcastle. And, obviously, we'll get some gorgeous weather there as well. But, again, all about starting the season here at the Winter Series. A couple categories down. Still working our way through qualifying. KA 100 senior drivers are on the grid right now and getting set to roll. We're right here on a time-specific schedule. They're set to roll off right now here at 9:35. We got some time, folks, so don't go anywhere. More coverage here of the final round of the Winter Series on Kart Chaser.
Colin, I need a new 219 chain. I need a 77 tooth sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the Kart on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop AKR.com.
So once again, back live here from AMR Homestead-Miami Motorplex, presented by MG Tires. Henry Baudet had mentioned at the start of the broadcast that there wasn't much of a breeze.
Well,
Henry, it has arrived. It is a little windy here now.
Yeah, so if you obviously
like
we are outside broadcasting. We are situated between just behind the start-finish straight and in front of the pre-grid area. So we are open here. So if you can hear a little bit of a buffering on the microphone, that is the breeze that has arrived, and I think it's a welcome breeze.
Indeed, yeah. It's going to be a warmer day today. 74 trackside here right now. We've got a mix of sun and cloud over top of the racetrack here, and again, the high being forecasted potentially at 81 degrees. And of course, anytime you're in South Florida, you're going to get that humidity as well. So it will be still a pleasant day, but that breeze always kind of cuts that humidity nicely, and we've got that here trackside now. But again, on track again, we had that break in the action as we are on our time-specific schedule. We have time built in to the schedule, so 9:35, the KA 100 seniors rolled right off. We do have a couple of categories here that we're splitting into two groups. When we don't split it into the group, we do have obviously a little bit of extra time. So those single categories, we have more time built into that 15-minute run. On track right now, the first of two groups for KA 100 Senior. And as they roll some lap times down, let's quickly jump over right now to Alexander Searle, standing by with Alessandro Gattulio.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Ale, I mean, you're 3 for 3 in the KA class on track. Obviously, the DQ from last round doesn't lock up the championship for you, but I mean, how high is your confidence levels going into today?
Yeah, the pace is quite good. You know, we're really close this round, so it's just about how the racing turns out. But yeah, we're gonna give it everything, and you know, the goal today is to go and win. Obviously, the DQ set us back quite a bit. If not, we would have had it pretty much locked up. But yeah, we're gonna have to push and give it all today.
Yeah, and I mean, one more thing here. In X30, right, yesterday was a little bit of a down day for you in pace, but this morning looked better. Did you guys find things yesterday, and did you learn enough to go into today and feel good?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we found the issue yesterday. You know, we worked hard to try and look at everything, see what was wrong, and I'm pretty sure we got it sorted, so we'll just see how it plays out today.
All right, good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Not the words that everybody wants to hear in KA 100 Senior when Alessandro Gattulio found something that potentially they had going wrong. Of course, he comes in, as we said, with 2 wins on the season. The third win actually not able to stick with the issue he had with the DQ in the wet weather run with the tires being pushed too far in. That's all that was. But as Alexander had said, 3 straight on-track victories for him. We'll head back to the kart right now to jump in to get ready to go. And again, with him looking strong and maybe finding some more pace, would be surprised to see him go P1. But right now, provisional pole in our first of 2 groups, Logan Adams, the driver out of Greenfield, Indiana, running for Rawlison Performance Group this year as well, running in the USF Pro 2000 category with their family team. Comet Racing, a driver, of course, part of that legendary Dismore family in Newcastle, Indiana. Right now, though, Joseph Body now going to P1.
Yeah, this session yesterday was led by Asia Torres Jr. And again, Asia was able to come out of the slower group and put it in the top 15. Asia not featuring in the top 8 in this session so far. It's botting with a 50.049. There's Logan Adams again, a 49.947. A couple of other drivers, Michael Boyadzis is out there. The Dan Devereaux team have taped the driver up, taped his ribs, and sort of tried to make him as comfortable as possible, and he is going to grit his teeth and give it a go. Lorenzo Kaufman now goes squeeze for Botting in kart number 955 on the Gillard chassis. One of the independent drivers is currently leading the way.
Kaufman second, Adams third, Dominic Karai in the 4th spot, CJ Bowman rounding out your fast 5. But again, all these drivers hoping just to find enough pace to somehow work their way up into the next group. Of course, the fast group coming, but you'll want to do your best to kind of infiltrate the tail end of that. The group that was faster, the second half of that group that, of course, was split by the times laid down in happy hour practice on Friday afternoon. Logan Adams goes back up top by about 0.2 of a second. That's a good gap over Joseph Boddick. Again, we talk about the fact that if you're P1 in this group, the further are you away from everybody else, the more likely you are to get deeper into that group, higher up the order when it's all said and done. Bodding turns a good lap down as well. still about almost 0.2 of a second. A 49.603. Logan Adams right now P1 in the first group for KA 100 Senior.
Yeah, and I'm going to say I think that should be good for top 20 overall for the driver you're looking at on your screen. The plain blue overalls, black crash helmet for Logan Adams. I know his mum and dad.
Nothing flashy there though, right?
Hey, do you know something? You know, a flashy race suit and a flashy crash helmet, they don't make you go any quicker.
That's exactly that.
You might look a bit more spectacular, but in terms of speed, no, it's all in the motor, the driver, and the setup of the wagon.
So 49.603 for Logan Adams rolling in here. Joseph Biding, Lorenzo Kaufman, Quentin McPherson, and Dominic Harai, the Fast 5 drivers in that first group. The second group ready to fire up and roll out here now, and indeed here they come. Again, we've got a pretty good field here in this category as well. 39 in total. The first group with 16, so we'll wait for the remainder of the drivers to roll out here and get things underway. Adams at 49.603. We'll see where that slots in. If he's in the top, I think he'd be pretty happy. Top 15, anywhere from 15 to 20, I think will be pretty solid here as well as those drivers getting ready to roll back out here.
Yes, indeed. So the big guns on track, and there's one of the biggest of the big guns, Stephen Miller, driving in this class for Nash Motorsports. In X30 Pro, he's driving for the AM Engines team, which it caused Rob any confusion because he's a professional, but it confused the heck out of me, but that's because I'm an idiot.
Oh, wow.
Yesterday.
Yeah, running for Ariel Castro in the X30
yes.
Senior class, but again with Nash Motorsports here, I haven't talked to them yet to find out what the reasoning behind that was, but I guess if a Kart was available, I probably got a chance to drive it, so Steve will run with AM Racing in the X30. Again, he's been very quick here, as we know, in this KA 100 Senior class, and again, one of our obviously talking points throughout the entire day is going to be the championship battle, right? This is what we're 100% watching here. Of course, the KA 100 senior drivers rolling out here to get things rolling, and we'll see which drivers step up to the forefront here in this particular category as they get rolling. Again, Donovan Bonilla coming in as the point leader here in KA 100 Senior.
And I'm thinking there's, the Nash Motorsport, they run in EOS. The Nash have only got one driver in X30 Pro, that's Blake Nash. And they've got a lot of karts in that awning in lots of different categories. I think maybe it was a case of, okay, look, we haven't got the capacity to run you as we'd like to this weekend. But Stephen, he was racing the last 2 weeks in Orlando for the Nash team, so I'm sure that there's no issue there. But it's just a case of, look, we'll focus. Nash very, very good at certain categories, and maybe haven't got the inventory of equipment in other categories to maintain, like a lot of drivers up at the front, who knows? Maybe just the opportunity came along, some AM Engines, and Ariel Castro went, okay, look, I got a kart, do you want to jump in it? There might have been a financial deal that was done, who knows? And Steve went, okay, we'll do that, and we'll spread the love. It just means he's going to get plenty of steps in walking between the two awnings.
We'll do a little digging here at the lunch yard to try to find out what's going on there as well. Nash Motorsports, essentially a bi-coastal team. They were at the Challenge of the Americas event last weekend, so they have a team on the West Coast, a team on the East Coast, running here with the SuperKarts USA program as well. And again, now, finally, the first drivers on lap number 2 have drawn blood. We got Stephen Eisert and Mick Gabriel to P1 and P2, respectively. 49.433. Noah Rosser now up in there as well. He'll go to P1. Logan Adams dropping back into 4th. James Overbeck, Donovan Bonilla, 5th and 6th. Stephen Miller, 7th. Tulio, 8th. Ivana Richards, 9th. Cameron Weinberg rounding out the top 10. 49.418. The current provisional poll, but we got 2 more laps still to come, and expect the best laps to come on lap number 4.
Yes, indeed. Rosser, one of the drivers, looking for a little bit of redemption after retiring yesterday. He's got that Ward Racing race suit on, the Swedish-based team Ward Racing, who race at the OK classes in Europe. So obviously that signifies that Noah is a well-travelled driver racing at the highest level, so you would expect him to be competitive, and he was until something done broke.
Yeah, Noah's a Florida driver who's done a lot of racing here in the Winter Series, kind of stepped things up last year, had a chance to go do some racing over in Europe, as you said, with Ward Racing, kind of focused on working his way into the car world pretty soon, looking at maybe a Lamborghini program or something. An issue with him there on lap number 3, does not go any quicker on lap number 3, although everybody else finding more pace. Stephen Eisert, the Sony Racing USA driver out of California, now P1. Checker flag flying, everybody on their final circuit right now. That's it for Miller, that's it for Overbeck. DeTullio, though, on his final lap goes up to P1, 49.117. Steven Eisert not able to go quicker, 2 thousandths of a second between first and second. He does indeed go quicker, but not enough to put him back to P1. DeTullio on top, 49.117. And when you're looking at a championship, we talk about these bonus points in qualifying. DeTullio will grab the 10 points at this point. Couple drivers still to come across the line, but otherwise I think we're done. DeTullio by 2 thousandths of a second over Steven Eisert. Nick Gabriel in third, Stephen Miller fourth, James Overbeck in fifth, Donovan Bonilla in sixth spot, Anthony Rivera in seventh, Austin Olds up into the eighth spot, ninth is Ivana Richards, 10th is Noah Rosser, and where does Logan Adams finish? 15th.
You were spot on, Ron.
I think he'll be pretty happy with the top 15 for Logan Adams, but nonetheless, DeTullio impressive, Austin Olds, they literally put a new go-kart underneath him for this.
I was
today.
just about to say, when we spoke, or you spoke to Billy Vincent yesterday, you were congratulating him on their win with Danny O'Gara, and saying, right then, when does the party start? Then Billy's like, no, reframe, Austin Olds. And so a lot of hard work went on in the MPG Motorsports garage last night, and Austin Olds thanking them by putting it top 10 in qualifying.
Yeah, he'll be pretty happy with that. Another driver maybe want a little more out of, but you never know, is that's Donovan Bonilla. He's the point leader coming in here in KA 100 Senior. 6th place, not the 10 points he needs for the bonus. And again, everybody battling Alessandro DeTullio anyways based on the success he's had. But nonetheless, outside row 3 starting spot, not bad for Bonilla. You know he's going to be in the battle once the pre-final gets rolling.
But the times, 49.117, 49.119
Exactly
between DeTullio and Isa. 2 thousandths of a second difference, and third place driver was only 300ths down as we close out KA 100 Senior. Now, we'll look, next class up is Micro Swift. And of course, we had that incident with Marcelo Flores, and I'm going to have a little look quickly at the dummy grid. I got to say, I doubt, the SLA karting team have got that kart, and you can see the Super Mario helmet on Marcelo Flores, and he's feeling okay, and a great performance there from the SLA karting team to get the kart, because I looked at that go-kart and the rear axle was doing a very good banana impression.
And we got the thumbs up as well from the team, so so he's good to go, which is great. We're still a couple minutes away, about 3 minutes away before we get things rolling here for this class. And again, we do have the time-specific schedule, as we had said, 9:50 schedule start time for the drivers here in the Micro Swift class. We'll have a break after that for KA 100 Master at 9:05, but indeed, Mini Swift category. This is going to be a good championship battle. Marco Samet, Royce Vega, Ashton Woon, Alessandro Truchot, and Troy Ferguson. Top 5. Truchot, of course, over at the WSK race here this weekend, along with a number of drivers. Lucas Palacios over there, Rocco Simone's over there as well. I know that they're having a chance to watch that over in the Trinity Karting Group tent right now, watching the WSK event happening over in Europe. So, indeed, a couple of drivers who have been here with us are over there now, but we've got a great championship battle with Samet, Vega, Woon, Ferguson, all in the middle of a championship fight.
Oh, I've got to say, the WSK event, there's a shot. That's my favorite cartoon-based crash helmet design of the Winter Series. There is another driver here with Pokemon on it, but I'm old school. I'm Super Mario all the way. That's my childhood, I have to say. Now, of course, WSK, great event. Commentary won't be as good, though.
I love it.
So we wait, and again, it just goes to show, 45 minutes ago, that driver was barreling out of his kart, and it was obviously the medical staff have cleared him, and wearing the pride colours there, and the Mexican driver just goes to show how tough these young boys and girls are. There are mums and dads and they're thinking, okay, that's enough, let's go home. I've always liked soccer as a sport. And the driver's like, no, I'm a racing driver.
I'm ready to go. Let's get back at it. 100%.
But let's hope for a safe passage through qualifying for not just Marcelo, but for all these young drivers, the youngest drivers we have here, 7, 8, and 9. And
indeed, when David and I did the Outlap preview podcast, we talked about that. There's a lot of 7-year-old drivers in this as well.
They've even got a cartoon kart chaser camera. I think we can have Mario, Luigi, kart chaser, Xander, something like that. Anyway,
It's a great impression.
Don't give him the day job, Henry.
Team U-Race, the sponsor of our Micro Swift category. And again, these drivers ready to roll off for what will be 4 laps to see how we line up the grid for the pre-final here, which will happen later on this morning. 11:45 scheduled start time for the pre-final. That'll be our last pre-final before the lunch break. For those of you who are watching here, our free coverage on YouTube. Once we do get into the pre-finals, you have to be a premium member to be able to continue to watch the coverage. So if you're not a member yet, you can get yourself subscribed to the channel. Drivers rolling out on track right now to get these opening couple laps. Very crucial, Henry, to get the heat built into these tires. Again, every time they come out for a new day, it's a brand new set of fresh MG tires for the race as well. That's one thing to remember. They, of course, run throughout the day on that set of tires, but they warmed up on used rubber. Now back on the fresh rubber. They're going to take a couple of laps to kind of get those tires up to temperature, get that mounting compound kind of off the outside, clean them up a little bit, make sure you stay out of trouble with these first couple of laps. Then the tire pressure starts to come in and away you go.
And it does change slightly. Obviously, the different diameter of the tires you see in the smaller karts, the micros, the minis, those tires, they tend to last a little bit longer. There's not as much force being put through them. Obviously, there's less power. So the drivers maybe, the times will actually get better in the races themselves, whereas, of course, in Pro Shifter, you've got so much force going through the tires that really, the ultimate performance comes in, the very first couple of laps. But this is the second half, the slower half of our Micro Swift grid. 39 drivers in total. Obviously we're missing Byron Bourneman, unfortunately. We talked about him. Missing Slate Harrell. We have to see whether Liam Natchawati is going to go out as well. I have, maybe I'm trying to see the number 280 car. Natchawati, he should be in the next group, the faster group. But as we watch the first group of drivers on their out lap, I believe we have Alexander Searle talking to Formula. Walter Jenkins, the fourth.
Thank you, Henry. Steven, oh so close there, 0.02 of a second off, but you have to make a pass on your best lap, so it's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, we got our engine issues figured out. I drove really good. The kart feels good. Thank you to SODI Racing USA, Carlos, Thierry, Harley, Dalton, everyone who's been helping me, Ruben, my mechanic Nathan, my parents, and everyone else involved.
Now, how do you attack the day from here, right? The Tullio obviously has been kind of the class of the field throughout the past month here at Homestead, but you're right up there with them. Do you feel confident going into today's races?
Yeah, of course. I have the equipment to do it. It's gonna be all up to me. So, yeah.
And what does it take here, right? With the KA class, draft is big, right? Working together, staying out of trouble. Kind of what are the key elements of winning in the KA class?
Yeah, just staying out of trouble is the main thing, The starts are big, getting spots on the start, then the momentum, falling back. You always want to be going forward, so yeah.
All right, thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you had Henry completely misidentify as a driver on your SKUSA commentary bingo card, you can cross that one off. That wasn't Walter Jenkins. I thought that was Stephen Eisen. Apologies all around, but I've got that one out of the way early, and hopefully now I can make some more sense as the day goes on.
Stephen, of course, has had a pretty good career here. The driver, let's have an issue here for the driver. The 288 is pulled off to the side. That's Marco Burgess. Trouble here during qualifying for Marco. He did get a couple of laps in, but currently P4, but some kind of an issue for that machine there. He's pulled off to the side of the track. But back to Stephen Eisert, who had a strong career on the West Coast, won a bunch of races, got a chance to be able to run with SODI Racing USA. They brought him over, and again, he mentioned the people under that tent, right? Talk about the Harley Keebles, talk about the Dalton Haynes, talk about the people that he's working with over there. They give him an opportunity to provide a lot of input for what he's doing. Running now up in the senior category. Stephen Eisert had a great junior career, so a great opportunity to run with a big organization like SODI Racing USA, and again, looking very, very strong in qualifying for today's action. They found what they needed, a little bit more to put him back in the middle of the fight.
Yes, indeed. Now, Brody Stoffel leads the way at the moment, a 54.219 in the number 229 kart. That is another SODI Racing kart. Parker Stewart, Dominic Gaddis, Nolan Carney, and Nico Salazar are the top five. Marcus Burgess who had an accident in qualifying yesterday. He is being patched up and sent back out. He's there in 6th. We've got Liam Francisco, Thomas Montalvo.
But Marcus is the driver who had that issue, was off the racetrack as well. Remember, we just said that. He's Marcus off the side of the track at the 288. Something happened.
Yes.
He's only got 2 laps in the book, so right now holding on to P6. Pretty solid for him.
Yes, indeed. The checkered flag is coming out. We'll have a little look who takes the flag first. Here we go. Any improvements now on the final lap? I've got to say the wind has really picked up. Drivers improving time but not position. It's Thomas Montalvo up into 7th. And
Henry, I'm really surprised by the lack of people going faster on lap number 4 here.
Could that be the wind? It's a crosswind. I mean, these are the smaller karts, the lightest karts, and we did have a really big gust across the track there for a minute. There's Darius Wolovic as well, 40 fastest for Darius. But Brody Stoffel comes in with a bit of a celebration as he's happy. 2 hands on the wheel. I mean, normally you have 1 hand in the air. I mean, hey, when you're this age, you know, any victory is worth celebrating.
If you're enjoying it, that's great.
That's the main
so yeah,
thing.
Stoffel with the provisional pole time, 85 thousandths of a second faster than Parker Stewart, a 54.219, the fast time for Brody Stoffel. But as we know, a bunch of drivers still to come, 18 in the first group, so still 21 drivers set to go if we do have them all, but at least 20 drivers we expect to roll out here still. A lot of drivers to come. We'll see where Brody Stoffel ends up finishing when we're all said and done. 4 more laps coming for the drivers here in the Micro Swift category. They'll roll on track and get out here for their qualifying runs. We work our way through again. The KA100 Masters drivers will be up next. 10:05 scheduled start time. We'll likely go to a quick commercial break when we're done here. Again, one of our single categories.
And looking there was, I think it was Leo Simone's kart. There was either a problem with the mechanic or someone getting it's very crowded at the end of pit lane there, and not everybody was as best pleased as possible with getting out on the circuit. I think we caught a glimpse of it on our cameras, but we tell the drivers to play nice on the circuit, but the mechanics have got to play nice as well in the pits.
Stoffel, Stewart, Gaddis, Carney, and Salazar the top 5, but you know when these times start to roll in here, we'll see some drivers jumping their way up into the top 10. Normally lap 2, lap 3 is when you'll see some drivers start to infiltrate the top 10 from those who have already laid down their 4 laps. As I said, I was very surprised. A number of the drivers in Micro turning their best laps on lap number 2. Stewart lap 2, Burgess, well, I know about Burgess lap 2, but Liam Francisco lap number 2, Dutch Westbrook, Logan Areta, all lap number 2, like they just weren't able to kind of get it in the groove.
Yeah.
Maybe we're doing a little sliced and diced and a little argy-bargy instead of actually getting focused on qualifying. So I expect to see more here lap number 3, lap 4. We don't know about the wind because indeed, Henry, it has picked up quite a bit over the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, could that be, I mean, we'll soon see whether, I can't imagine it's going to affect the top half of the group too much, but if track conditions have changed with that little bit of wind chill, you know, could we see the likes of Stoffel? Well, no, is the answer. Alvaro Medeiros goes top of the list, 54.006. Win Godschalk, driver that was fast but a little bit leery, I have to say, yesterday. He was very fast but somewhat spectacular. Although I've also got to say, let's have a look. We talked about Donovan Bonilla and how that first major win at Super Nationals has transformed him as a driver. Let's see if Danny O'Gara, yesterday's first win, he moves across, and of course Zane Burgess, we're looking at for the championship picture as well. But we can have a little glance back at some of the off-track incidents that are occurring at the exit of pit lane. And yes, there's one driver doesn't want to go, another driver does want to go, and then there was a discussion, and then there were some handbags thrown, and then they've agreed that they will probably not park next to each other before the pre-final.
They're not having a beer together tonight, are they?
No, but they will not be watching the Super Bowl together. But Win Godschalk, 53.659, and already Stoffels down to 8th place. But again, 53.659. Santiago Orioli, second in points behind Zane Burgess, and Santiago is P2. Leo Simoni is P3. Then it's Medeiros, Manalio, Lorenzo Lopez, Kabinski, and then Stoffel. One name we haven't mentioned, Zane Burgess, still not featuring amongst the top 12.
Yeah, yesterday's winner, Danny O'Gara, now down into the 10th position here. We'll see whether he finds some more speed. O'Gara comes up into second, and there goes Zane Burgess. He arrives on the scene here on lap number 3. P3 for Zane on the Sodi Kart. A 53 points, where does he end up at? 6.45 as Manalio. Jake Manalio now going to P1 in the 291, a 53.417. Good lap there for Manalio. Mazzucola up there as well. Anthony Mazzucola goes to P2. O'Gara now third. Burgess fourth. Godshock fifth. Ian Hamaker now in the 6th spot. Leo Simoni back to 7th. And the driver led yesterday, Santiago Orioli, all the way back to 8th right now, but still another lap, I think, to come. They're going to get this final circuit in lap number 4. Now, we did not see that with the first group. A lot of drivers lap 2 and 3, but we'll expect to see some drivers potentially lock one down here on lap number 4. Aaron Likens with the checkered flag here at start finish. Everybody looking for a little bit more. Easton Kubinski goes P1, 53.317. Simoni now 53.154. So a lot of action on the final circuit. Mazzucola goes up to the 3rd spot. So Simoni, Kubinski, Mazzucola. Danny O'Gara goes quicker, but not enough to go to P1. He'll be P5. Manalio in 5th. Medeiros, Orioli, Zane Burgess all the way back in 8th.
So the two title contenders will share the 4th row of the grid. Orioli and points leader Burgess. Now, of course, Burgess thinking, okay, well, I'm still not happy with the performance of my go-kart, but at least I didn't give 10 points away. Somebody else, Leo Simoni, took the 10 points for provisional pole.
Yeah, nobody in the championship battle able to grab a hold of those 10 points, and that could shake things up a little bit. And indeed, that's going to hurt everybody else in the middle of the fight. Remember Brody Stoffel, who was the fastest driver in the first run. Where does he end up?
18th overall, just behind the recovering Marcelo Flores. So good to see that Marcelo got through that qualifying session okay. 18th fastest for the leader of the slower group.
All right, folks, we are waiting for the next event, KA100 Master next up. We'll run a couple of quick commercials here. Don't go anywhere. Live coverage continuing here on Kart Chaser.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
Studies show that even the best current generation of simulators only convince 50% of the human brain that they are real. Here at SimCraft, that just isn't realistic enough. Developed to offer the most realistic karting sim experience in the world, All testing has shown that the physics engine used in Simcraft's Grid 1 model convinces 90% of the human brain that you are actually on track. Now that is the real deal.
Back at it once again with the drivers in the KA100 Masters category taken to the racetrack for their qualifying run. Again, this championship battle looks like it's leaning towards Miguel Mir. He's got things pretty much handled over Michel Garrido right now, but nonetheless, the qualifying needs to get done here. Back live here from AMR Homestead-Miami Motorplex, presented by MG Tires. Again, the drivers in the KA100 Master category just getting things underway. Before we have a look at their times to get the heat built into these MG Tires, let's step away and have a quick chat here with Danny Formal.
Yep, thanks, Rob. Danny, you're racing for a championship today, but Morgado found a little something yesterday. You got something for him today?
I hope so. Like I said yesterday, got the best team behind me. Tried something this morning, was good, not good enough. So yeah, going back again to the drawing board before qualifying, trying a few things, and it's a lot of points in qualifying and fast lap of the race. Again, my drop is still bigger than Mateo's, so it's a pretty close championship. So we'll see what happens. It is what it is, and we're going to try to give him a fight.
Danny, you were so quick on the previous layout of this track. What's the difference? What's the big difference in driving, week 1 and 2 to the race 3 and 4?
Well, if you look at times on the SKUSA app, we're about 6/10 slower the other way, and the track is faster. It's a faster layout, so there was a lot less grip, and my driving style definitely fits that better. There is some curves that you could hit in the other way that benefit you, and that you can't hit this way. So it's just not my kind of track, let's say, right now. But it's okay. We'll go look at what we can and what we could fix, and hopefully it's enough. He's been extremely fast. Georgia was extremely fast this morning. Alan got faster, so I think it was a 10th and a half separating us four, so it's pretty tight. So yeah, hopefully get a good qualifying, get a good start, and make it a little harder today.
I think Danny's expecting a good show. I am too.
Thank you so much, David. Very interesting on this one here, Henry. The simple fact that first we're talking about the way the track is in the different directions, that I thought was very interesting. But we're talking about a very close championship right now. Based on what Mateus was able to do yesterday and have a kind of a perfect day, he has to do that again today, and then the pressure goes on Danny Formal. But Danny's, of course, got Alan Isambard. He's got Giorgio Carrera. If anybody else steals away a pole position from Mateus Morgado, it's going to help Danny Formal. So that's kind of the whole deal. There's so many different layers to this championship battle.
I quite like that, the psychological aspect of it. Danny Formal, who would have thought he would have come in today with someone breathing down his neck in terms of the championship, and like he said, the track, and he was very careful. Look, the track layout doesn't suit me. The style last weekend was better for me, etc. Playing himself down, but that's not a driver that's not got confidence, that's defeated. That's a case of, he's putting it onto Mateus Morgado. He's, now Mateus Morgado has got a little bit more pressure on him because, Danny's just said that it's not quite as good for him, so I'm expected to do better here. But of course, then Danny throws in the almost a throwaway mark. Yeah, Giorgio's quick, Alan's getting quicker, there's not just a head-to-head battle. There are other people that can take points off me, so now Mateus is going out, and he's got to lay down a fast lap in qualifying, and of course, is Danny Formal shown all his cards? I'm not sure.
Let's jump into KA100 Master, brought to you by Alessandro's Racing. Qualifying almost done. Lap 3 in the books. Mario Barrios on top right now. Charlie Fonseca in second. Michel Garrido and Miguel Mir. That's your top four. Throw in Luis Quiones to cap off your Fast 5 as well. And right now it's almost 2.5 tenths of a second for Mario Barrios, who is not here in January, but is definitely looking good here on Championship Sunday. He is leading the way right now in terms of times. Now, Miguel Mir is in that middle of that scrap with Michel Garrido for the championship. Mir's got the thing pretty much handled right now, especially if Barrios comes away with the points from qualifying. Indeed, here comes the checkered flag. Indeed, Barrios, Fonseca, Garrido, Mir, and Quiones. So 10-point bonus for Mario Barrios. It does not go to Michel Garrido, who is Mir's primary championship contender. So that plays well for Miguel Mir to potentially walk away with the championship here today on a Sunday. But nonetheless, Charlie Fonseca, very impressive yesterday, getting the victory both in the pre-final and the final, although Barrios was right there. They went back and forth. This is going to be a great fight throughout the entire day.
Yeah, the field was a little bit spread out behind the front runners. I'm looking for like Grace Hammer to maybe just, join that fight for the victory. She was a 7th fastest, but we also had, between Barrios, Fonseca, Garrido, Mia, and Hamerd. There's the top 5 in terms of pace yesterday. I'm expecting to see that the same today. But Quinones and Jesus Portillo, 5th and 6th as well, showing that they're not out of contention yet. Now, no, we're not going to mention. There's still blue skies. Ignore what's above the tech area there on our camera shot.
It's dark.
And we'll look away from that, ladies and gentlemen, on the camera there. I have to say, there's nothing but sunshine and dry weather forecast for today.
That's very true.
And I'm believing the local meteorological service as we look ahead now to our final 3 qualifying sessions. X30 Junior up next. This is all but over in terms of the championship. Diego Diaz has got it. I wouldn't say it's all sewn up, but pretty much done and dusted in X30 Junior. So Ardila as well. I mean, he can breathe easy. He can breathe easier in this class and focus all his championship attention on KA100 Junior. But of course, he's still going to be going for the win in here in this category. Bernardo Bernoldi is not going to be out with us in this class. He is unwell, so the Brazilian driver has gone home. Looking at the list of drivers there, one driver I would say and it's a big if Chase Gassioli can get himself sorted and get qualifying right, he overtook more drivers than anybody else yesterday. Him and Tristan Murphy in K100.
Yeah, they had to come from deep in the field, didn't they?
Yeah. Chase is he's just completed his first full year of kart racing. So there's a little bit to be ironed out in terms of, rough around the edges, so to speak. But the speed is unquestionably there. But can he now, of course, going fast in practice is one thing. Getting all the elements of time qualifying together, track position, chasing the right driver, and hitting your marks, and being able to hit your marks on the exact lap where your tyres are at peak performance. That's all skills that just come in time.
Yeah, indeed. And it doesn't come as second nature to most drivers, right? They have to figure it out. There's lots you're thinking about out there while you're still trying to circulate around this racetrack. A great race yesterday for Diego Ardiles. He gets that victory by just over 4/10 of a second from Jackson Wolney and Enzo Vidmontian. We had some pretty good runs further back from some drivers moving forward. You mentioned Tristan Murphy. He had to pass 14 people to work from 27th up to 13th in the main event yesterday. So he'll be looking again, like you said, with Chase Gassioli. Get that qualifying and get that, get out there and lock that lap down. Let's make sure we're further forward so that we can work our way up in the main or in the pre-final, get into the top 10. Alexander Vanchev for Zanella Racing was good as well. He was in the middle of the discussion all race long. Yes. He ended up finishing P4. Sarah Bradley was there as well. Max Weiland on the Magic Kart. Ty Fisher was a driver we talked about a lot yesterday. I think he even led it for a time.
He did.
Was right up in the middle of the battle up front. Just kind of got shuffled down and all that skirmish at the end of that race. That was a really, really solid race yesterday for a lot of drivers.
You mentioned Sarah Bradley there, and the one thing we thought, she was very impressive yesterday. But yesterday you mentioned, what's the one thing on a Saturday night? You don't want your chassis or your go-kart frame to be going. You don't want it to be in line on the chassis straightening table.
Yeah.
Sarah's kart was.
Okay.
So even with that performance she put in yesterday, that was obviously there was an issue with the frame, the team. So I'm expecting Sarah to do even quicker today now that the Speed Concepts team have quite literally ironed out the problems with the frame.
Engines fired up right now. We're a minute away from rolling them onto the racetrack for their quick qualifying run. And indeed, as we know, I believe are we running the two groups with these guys or just a single group?
There's still half the drivers. I'm looking at Edward Kennedy in the number 751. There's Max Weiland.
Two groups.
No crash helmet on, and there are engines fired at the front. So yes, two groups.
Two groups of qualifying to roll out here as well. So the first group, the slower group from happy hour practice on Friday afternoon, will take to the track for the first time. And again, the wind picking up, as we had said. There was a minimal wind when we got here earlier today, but it's definitely picked up here as we roll past the 9:30, 9:45, 10 o'clock period here, 10:15. Now trackside here, Eastern time in Homestead, Florida. Again, the weather's beautiful, 77 degrees. That breeze is really helping with the humidity, as we had mentioned before. There is some cloud cover around the racetrack, but again, the forecast is for beautiful day. Now, not sunny all day on the forecast, which was good, but there are some sun times coming. So thus far, like you said, the weatherman has done a good job so far on the weekend in terms of being correct with their predictions. So.
I am on Team Weatherman. Let's just say that. But of course, with the cloud cover, that will affect track conditions. We talk about the temperature trackside. What we don't have is the temperature of the tarmac, which changes, regularly throughout the course of the day.
And this is a track that will change depending on the temperature as well, right? Yep. Most definitely. A lot of people will talk about the fact that if it's all of a sudden cloud cover, the track's going to change quite a bit. So, indeed, for the mechanics, putting a little bit more pressure on them to maybe make that last little adjustment that you could make to deal with a track in the sun or a track that could potentially be in cloud cover.
Well, as still a current driver and as an ex-driver sat here, you've got to make those mechanics earn their money.
Right.
You can't make it easy for them.
I'm more the kind of guy that comes back and just leaves the cart alone, because by the time, even at the Supernats when I raced, my fastest race lap of the entire weekend was the 13th lap of the main event, because I just kept getting quicker, right?
Yeah.
When you don't have as much time to get in the cart, it's a little different, but these drivers here, of course, if you're here at the Winter Series, you're probably in a cart quite a bit. You can get that thing dialed into the best you possibly can during the practice day. You're really more, I think, changing to the conditions as opposed to me changing to just getting a little quicker.
Yeah. There's time to be found in the cart. There's always time to be found within the driver.
Always. Indeed that. Because again, like we've said, and you mentioned this before, you can do the best you can. They tune the engine up. They get the chassis the way they want it. They get the tire pressure set for qualifying. It's still in the hands of the driver for qualifying and in the race as well with your racecraft. But qualifying, you need to make sure you position yourself well on the track. You need to be around the right people when you get to that lap 3, lap 4. You don't want to be making a pass on somebody on lap 3 or 4 where you're in the marbles or whatever happens. You need to position yourself and really play the strategy game so you know that maybe on that last lap, that 4th lap, when you're coming down the straightaway, you're going to get that toe that you need to get that just a little bit more.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday in terms of Sebastian Garzon beautifully positioning himself behind Diego Ardiles and just allowed Diego to tow him round the last lap. At the moment, it's the number 732 kart of Remy Andriatos, the Sony Racing driver, top of the charts. Nathan Dupuis, 49.695 is second fastest. And again, Nathan turning out for the Super Tune team here for the first time. Edgar Rodriguez and William Kim, who we were looking at focusing on the cameras earlier, were part of the Ryan Perry Motorsports team. And I noticed that Colin Brown is here, former world karting champion and the only driver in karting that probably was quicker than a certain Lewis Hamilton. They went head to head. Great to see Colin back in the paddock. For quite a long time he was criminally overlooked, I feel, but now he's here as a world champion and he's helping the Ryan Perry Motorsport team. Invaluable knowledge from Colin Brown.
That's awesome to have under that tent for all the drivers as part of that program. Tristan Murphy's worked his way up into P1. Remember, Tristan was a driver who had to come deep in the field to move forward He was the hard charger in the race yesterday, a 49.099 for Tristan Murphy, just about 5 thousandths quicker right now than Aiden Young, 78 thousandths quicker than William Kim. Aiden Augustine and Edgar Rodriguez capping off the Fast 5 right now. Again, this is lap 3. They'll get 4 laps in the books, maybe 5 laps for the shifter kart category, maybe for X30, but otherwise we've got the 4-lap run here for the drivers in X30 Junior, the first of 2 groups here, and again, X30 Junior, brought to you by the Rollison Performance Group. 48.841, Aiden Young now going on top of Tristan Murphy here right now as well, the driver running for Vortis competition. So again, Aiden Young, good lap time there.
Yeah, a quarter of a second quicker than anybody else. So if you're Aiden Young, you're happy. Now, okay, so Tristan Murphy, William Kim, P2, P3 in group, but, you know, a 48.84 compared to a 49.0. That's a big gap. So I think that Aiden Young will be quite pleased with that, but the rest of this group that we're seeing on track now, they're probably going to be slotting in down at the back end of the field.
And you're not talking about this. You have that big gap if you're up top, right?
Yep.
You're probably going to find yourself top 15, top
I'd say
20, right?
Yeah. So but Tristan Murphy, William Kim, second and third. Aiden Augustine, Nathan Dupuis, fourth and fifth.
So we'll keep a look at that lap time as well. 48.841, over 2.5 tenths quicker than Tristan Murphy. And Tristan, again, about a tenth faster than William Kim. We'll see where Aiden Young slots in when it's all said and done. But again, Tristan Murphy just does not want to start dead last. He went all the way from 27th up to 13th yesterday. He'd like a top 20 starting spot to potentially allow him to work his way potentially into the top 10. So we'll continue to watch this, but as the second group of drivers are onto the racetrack right now for X30 Junior. Just 2 more categories still to come after this, X30 Senior and Pro Shifter. That will wrap up qualifying, and we'll wrap up our free coverage here on YouTube as well. If you want to move into the pre-finals to watch the wheel-to-wheel racing, we'll have through pre-finals and finals here on Championship Sunday. Make sure to sign up for Kart Chasers Premium Membership. We'll give you all the action, $9.99 a month to give you the coverage of so many races here throughout the 2024 season.
Yes, indeed, not just SKUSA, but other championships as well, all around the nation. Other packages, other events, with many of the stars, USPKS and Rotax, Rotax, as well as all the SKUSA events, especially other, like, the Texas karting series. We've already talked about Mike Jones down at the Dallas karting complex.
Yep.
He's been on the live chat saying he's cheering on Dallas's own Royce Vega.
There you go.
In Minimax.
And the Texas Sprint Racing Series getting started here as well at the end of February at NOLA Motorsports Park, a great series that will take them to a number of different tracks. Of course, Speed Sports out to Amarillo for that track, which is a scaled-down version of the Istanbul F1 circuit.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's the Amarillo Kart circuit. Fantastic facility. I've had a chance to be there a couple of times. They're going to a new facility called Kart Moto as well in Creston, Texas. So, and then back to, of course, Dallas Karting Complex, as you mentioned before, which underwent a massive reconstruction to a certain extent. It's already a fantastic racetrack out in Caddo Mills, just east of Dallas, but they actually rebuilt the track to have a rental track and a competition track at the same time on track. So they've done a lot of work there at the Dallas Karting Complex, a tremendous facility, and obviously run by absolute rabid racing fans as well.
Yeah, and of course, you were talking yesterday about how 2026 is the 70th anniversary of karting in the US, and wouldn't it be a great idea to have the World Championship back in the United States? And I have to say that there are a multitude of venues that are now progressing into sort of the level of facility. Yes, you can have great tracks, you can have great bits of tarmac, but it's all about the facilities, the paddock, the buildings, the restaurant areas, the offices, the things like that you could host these big events. And I think that the USA are getting more and more of those venues.
You've got to go back to 1998, the last time a World Championship was run here. That was the Formula C World Championship. It was run at Charlotte Motor Speedway, indeed on the kart track, as part of the North American Karting Championships that year as well. So let's get back to the action here, because we are getting close to the end here. We'll come back to talking about Charlotte and that event. X30 Junior on track. Diego Ardiles again already has his championship pretty much locked and loaded. 48.126. He goes to P1 by 0.04 of a second over Jackson Wolney. Ty Fisher once again quick, only 8 thousandths behind Wolney. Alexander Vanchev, Enzo Vidmontien, same drivers we talked about all day long yesterday. That is 4th and 5th. Max Weiland currently 6th. Sarah Bradley 7th. Lucas DeLongchamp in 8th. Cole Medeiros and Aiden Young holding on to 10th. That was the fastest driver from the first group.
Yes, but this is now the final flying lap, and the top 7 drivers, in fact, 11 of the top 12, all set their fastest lap last time around. Will we see more improvements? Yes, Ardiles, a 48.07, stays top of the pile. Max Weiland.
Wow.
The Magic Kart driver, 48.062. And Max goes to top spot there. No improvement from Wolney, from Fisher, from Vanchev. Vidmontien and Bradley both post their best laps. They stay 6th and 7th. McGoy, Medeiros, DeLongchamp, Ramirez, Aiden Young slips to 12th, but still that's very impressive, and he's going to be happy with that, just in front of Chase Gassioli. We said that's a better qualifying performance from Chase, as he's learning the art of qualifying with Edward Kennedy in 14th place.
Let's give a shout out though to Max Weiland
Yes.
on the Magic Kart number 720. Your results were, I was going to say they'll pop up here. There he is there. What a fantastic final lap for Max Weiland. He goes P1 with a 48.062. Weiland on the pole position for the X30 Junior category. He'll be thrilled with that one. A big effort there for the drivers or the crew from Magic Kart USA as well, as he is P1. Max Weiland, fastest driver in the X30 Junior category. And now we look forward to X30 Senior. 2 groups to roll out here as well. And the first group ready to pull off here momentarily. Scheduled start time. Actually, we're about 5 minutes away from the start of that, but nonetheless, Max Weiland, great job for him.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is, first of all, to whet your appetite for what we're going to see in X30 Pro, we're going to just bring you up to speed with one of the developing storylines that we've seen here between a certain Mr. R. Norberg and a certain Mr. T. Niveau. When we've done that little wrap-up, we will show you some commercials before we get there. But yeah, the pro class are about to go out, but yeah, there are 2 drivers in particular who have met a couple of times.
Studies show that even the best current generation of simulators only convince 50% of the human brain that they are real. Here at SimCraft, that just isn't realistic enough. Developed to offer the most realistic karting sim experience in the world, all testing has shown that the physics engine used in SimCraft's Grid 1 model convinces 90% of the human brain that you are actually on track. Now that is the real deal.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rip protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next, well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway to professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
All right, welcome back here. We just saw Max Wheeland put it on pole in X30 Junior. Your first national pole. I mean, you can see the smile on your face. How does that feel?
It feels great. This is my first big pole, so I'm pretty happy. My team's happy. I'm starting some in the back for KA, so I'm gonna make that up. But I'm really happy I got pole in this thing.
Yeah, and you mentioned KA, right? I mean, you're quick in X30. KA, you know, stuff to improve on. Did you learn anything out there in the X30 class that can translate to KA?
Send it.
There you go, Maxwell. I'm going to send it here in the pre-final coming up later today. Back to you guys.
Welcome back here. X30 Senior getting underway for qualifying. Warm-up lap getting set here. My name's Alexander Searle. With me here is David Land. You've seen us out there on pit road there getting some interviews. We're in the booth here for a little bit, commentating some X30 Senior qualifying action. Lots of storylines today, right? I mean, Dave, DeTulio and Norberg leading the points coming into this weekend. Had a shocker of a day, especially for Ryan, right? So today it's Championship Sunday, and really it's all to play for here in the senior category. Some guys are also in with an outsider's chance, right? Brandon Carr's got a chance. Donovan Bonilla has a really good shot now with that win yesterday, obviously with a pretty good drop from last month. So it's all to play for here, Dave.
Yeah, it's amazing. With the drops, you find very quickly that there's a lot more people in the points championship than you think there are. And obviously, Ryan Norberg was definitely the surprise of yesterday. I mean, to have two incidents on the racetrack, that was a shocker. And ADT was just pretty much nowhere yesterday. I mean, we didn't see him very much at the front of the field at all. Speaking of the front of the field right now, Dalton Haynes is up on the top of the heap right now in that Sodi Kart. You're looking at him right now on the television, getting a pretty good tow there, two-kart tow right into turn number one. Alex, how important is that around this reverse layout of Homestead-Miami?
Oh, it's incredibly important, right? Long straightaways, you're always going to want to tow here. And for Dalton, this is his strategy coming into today. Because yesterday he had a shocker, right? 18th in qualifying there. They missed it on setup a little bit is what he told me. So, being probably the quickest guy here in the slow group, is to make some move there to the inside, trying to set himself up perfectly here for a flyer with 2 to go here in qualifying. So it's looking good for Dalton, right? Much better track position than he had yesterday when he had to make a pass in pretty much every single lap he did throughout qualifying. So far, so good for him. I mean, the lap times are looking solid. He looks to be, hopefully, in his case, a top 10 guy here as they enter the pre-final later this afternoon. But, we saw how aggressive these guys were driving yesterday. And I only expect it to get more aggressive as the day goes on, right? Because it's the last race of the championship. People know that it's all to play for, and points are up for grabs. Some guys have a drop. Some guys are going into this weekend saying, you know what, I have 3 good results. I can go out there and send it harder than the next guy, because if I do bad, it's a drop anyways.
Stephen Miller goes to the top of the board at a 47.6, but you're right, Alex. One of the things that I noticed was the sense of urgency was really high yesterday, and I think that's part due to this layout, right? It's a lot harder to pass when we're going the opposite direction around this circuit. So, you know, what I saw yesterday is a lot of clumping, a lot of guys racing really hard to get a position, and what that did, of course, was spread the field out at the front. So, you know, if you can get out front, and again, kind of to the sense of urgency, I think that's why we're going to see guys really try passes early on here, because if you can get out front and the guys behind you start battling, that's going to be an advantage for you.
Yeah, for sure. Here we go. Checker flag is out. Stephen Miller looks to be on an absolute flyer there. Got a pretty good toe. There he goes. 47.6 purple lap. Stephen Miller, first weekend on the X30. First time ever driving an X30. He didn't even know he was going to drive it until, you know, Saturday morning, right? So with limited practice, to be so quick on the X30, it's impressive for him. I mean, he had a decent showing yesterday. He had to qualify in the slow group, has to do it again today. So to be P1 out of the slow group, I mean, you're guaranteed at least a mid-pack. And 47.6, right, for Stephen Miller. Yesterday's qualifying would have put him P4. For Haynes, he'll take it, only a 10th off of him. So these two guys look to be, you know, handily inside the top 10 or 12 when it all is said and done here, Dave.
Yeah, that was an awesome lap for Stephen Miller. In fact, I think he went purple in the last 2 laps he ran. So just an excellent job by Stephen Miller. And like you said, Alex, would have been P4 yesterday. So that's an excellent lap. That's going to put him well up into the field. And now joining us in the booth is Rob Howden.
Thanks a lot, David. Again, the first group getting the things done there. See how it plays out. This is what we continue to watch, is where the drivers set up in that opening group. You know, what kind of lap times they were mentioned, where you get, how good were you getting out of the group, getting out of the drivers that could potentially hold you back. Stephen Miller, a 47.672. Where does that slot in? Same for Dalton Haynes. You know, Dalton, we talked to him already. The boys interviewed him, and he said he was very happy with the way things were looking forward for the day here today. Did they find the extra that they needed? But they know, of course, rolling over that data from Harley Keeble yesterday, he was right in the middle of the scrap, was reeling in Donovan Bonilla over the second half of that race. The pace there on that Sodi Racing USA machine. And indeed, Keeble rolling things up. Will Haynes, 47.793 be enough to keep him somewhere within striking distance in the pre-final? That will be the key for him, and he and Stephen Miller. Where do they end up? Can they attack? And how strong will they be over the opening couple of laps? Nonetheless, a 47.672 provisional pole time right now for Stephen Miller. But again, watching these drivers get out here and expect, again, lap number 3, lap number 4. Surprising to me, Dalton Haynes' fastest lap was lap number 2, as it was for Josh Holtz, another driver in the top 10 of that first group, not getting the fast lap later on in the run. 47.793 on lap 2, 47.821. So just a little off for Haynes on lap 4, but just couldn't maximize that final lap of the 4-lap run to be able to work his way forward. We'll now look to see which drivers eventually work their way up. Brian Norberg's going to go to 11th on his opening lap. He'll go down to 12th as Massimino now up to the 11th position. So already Massimino and Norberg almost into the top 10 on their first flying lap. There's Norberg there in the number 2. Again, yesterday, not a Norberg-style day. Got caught up in a couple of incidents, one with Thomas Nouveau, and then one kind of a chain reaction coming out of the carousel where he literally got hit from behind and climbed up over the driver in front of him and ended up turning backwards. His teammate right behind him there, and Donovan Bonilla. Again, this championships is going to be a good one with these drivers. Of course, still out there on lap 2, warming the tires up a little bit. That's what you get at this level of competition. But again, Pro X30 brought to you by Speed Lab Racing Engines. Indeed, looking to see how things shake down for the drivers there. Lap 2, Brandon Carr going to work his way now up into, I believe, the 8th spot for Brandon Carr. Who else is working their way up there? Norberg goes to 2nd on lap number 2. Donovan Bonilla all the way up to P2. He's right behind Norberg. So indeed, Bonilla leveraging his teammate. We'll pick them up here. Yeah, right there. You can see Bonilla right there using the draft on Norberg. And think about that. Ryan Norberg, as fast as he is, and you're in that draft, you're going to get that just little bit of toe, and you're going to get the toe and not having to worry about catching right up to that driver, potentially losing your pace. So, indeed, right now, Donovan Bonilla lined up in a good spot. Norberg here, who's he behind? I think he's right behind Keeble. That's the way to get the job done. This is a big group here up front. Donovan Bonilla still not able to go to P1. What a good lap time for Stephen Miller from Group 1. 47.672, holding up still through lap 3 for Bonilla. Lap 3 for Norberg as well. Nouveau up into the 5th spot. Laurent Legault goes to 6th. Massimino 7th. DeTulio 8th. Brandon Carr 10th. So indeed, Miller rolled one out there in the first group, 47.672. Here come the big dogs still rolling here right now. Where is Harley Keeble? How far down? The 65 down in 16th right now. Keeble was second yesterday. He's going to find some more pace. You can see Norberg coming up on him, so not a great session here for Harley Keeble. He'll have to lay one down here now. Final lap for all of these drivers. Does Keeble get into the top 10? He does not. Wow, there's a storyline for the day. 2 storylines, maybe 3 here in this particular qualifying run. Stephen Miller so far has the spot. From group number 1, Stephen Miller coming away with the pole position, 47.672 for Stephen Miller, 28 thousandths quicker than Donovan Bonilla. Donald, the quickest driver of group number 2, his teammate at RPG, Laurent Legault, ends up into the 3rd spot. Dalton Haynes holds on to 4th. Haynes significantly quicker than Harley Keeble. Keeble ends up 17th. His fast time, 8:48.179, a half a second back for Keeble. Work to be done in the pre-final. Miller, Bonilla, Legault, Haynes, and Ryan Norberg rounding out the fast 5. Thomas DeVoe in 6th. So a ton of storylines there. Keeble deeper in the field as he gets reeled in by both Bonilla and Norberg. Great run as well for Stephen Miller out of the slow group from Happy Hour. He goes P1. And Dalton Haynes in the slower group as well ends up in 4th. So a lot of different storylines in the qualifying run there for X30 Senior. Wow. So indeed, a number of drivers who we figured were going to be super fast. We're well down the order there. Jacob Kolar down in 19th. Blake Nash outside the top 20. There is going to be some action mid-pack when we go pre-final racing, because those drivers will all have that sense of urgency that they need to get themselves back up. They'll need to get themselves back up into to fighting position. Hey, Diego Ramos as well, another driver well back. 24th for Diego Ramos. When do you see that in the order as well? So a very interesting qualifying run. Fast guys coming out of the slower group, and Stephen Miller and Dalton Haynes, and then drivers like a Harley Keeble, who we thought maybe was going to be able to make that minor little adjustment and come out of the gates as a rock star here on Championship Sunday, finds himself outside the top 10. So a ton of issues there in qualifying. Nonetheless, Stephen Miller doing a tremendous job to get the job done and rock and roll in to P4. So indeed, rocking and rolling is exactly the key here. We are working our way through one more category still to come, folks. We're still 3 or 4 minutes away from the start of qualifying for Pro Shifter, so we'll take a quick break. On the other side of these messages, we'll be back. Pro Shifter qualifying before we head into the pre-finals.
Colin, I need a new 219 chain. I need a 77 tooth sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the Kart on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place, and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop AKR.com.
So, folks, back at it right now, again, live here from AMR Homestead-Miami Motorplex, presented by MG Tires. We have the drivers and pro shifter rolling out here. Before they get these heat in the tires, let's quickly have a chat with the driver. Shocked everybody in X30 Junior Qualifying. Let's talk with Stephen Miller.
Thank you, Rob. Stephen, I mean, first weekend on an X30, hadn't even driven it up until Saturday. This has got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I knew I was super fast, and we got pole. So.
Talk about that qualifying session, right? Because it's a bit of an anomaly to see people normally go out of the slow group and stay even top 5. You put it on pole. It seems like a lot of the guys in that second group, usually the faster group, went slower. I mean, how did the track feel out there?
I mean, the track felt pretty good, maybe a little bit loose, but other than that, it was pretty good.
Now, what can we expect from Stephen Miller here, leading this X30 senior field to the green in the pre-final? I mean, is it going to be chaotic?
100% for sure. The starts yesterday were pretty chaotic. Ryan was over my head, and who knows what's going to happen next.
All right, thank you, bud.
Thank you.
All right, that's Stephen Miller. I'm going to bring in Laurent Legault here as well. Laurent, out of the fast group P3, you were quick yesterday in the pre-final, had an issue there in the final, but what did you feel from your perspective for the track?
About the track? I'd say that it was definitely a bit slower than this morning. I don't know exactly the reason. Maybe it got greasy. Maybe because some people went off, it was a bit slower. But yeah, since yesterday afternoon, we've been really fast, and I'm just looking forward to continue pushing.
All right, thank you, bud.
Thank you.
Well, there is word from Laurent Legault and somewhat surprising X30 Pro pole sitter Stephen Miller, like I said, has not stepped into an X30 kart until this weekend. We are watching Pro Shifter Qualifying and Mateus Morgado doing what he needs to do at the moment. He sits on top spot, 46.200. Alan Isambard, Cooper Beckman, Vincent Saraceno, but we're waiting. Danny Formal at the moment only 9th fastest.
Let me throw this out here, Henry, right now. I just had a chance to kind of walk out. We're, of course, in a covered area here right now. It's all of a sudden getting super hot. Like, it's 77 degrees, hotter than it's been all weekend long. There's Formal here, still has not laid down a flying lap. What is with Formal? He's got a flyer in, pardon me, but nothing like super quick. He's 3 or 4 tenths of a second off. You wonder if there's an issue right now. All I'm saying is that the temperature's high right now. It seems like there's a lot of heat getting into the track itself. This is going to be different for a lot of the drivers here, especially going into the pre-finals.
Yeah, what did Danny Formal say in his interview? That when it's a cooler, sort of slippier track, that when he comes into his own, now he is on a flyer. It's a 45.775 second lap for Morgado. Then it's Giorgio Carrara, a tenth slower. In second, Cooper Beckman, Alan Isambard, Justin White. This should be, well, they're going to get maybe 1-2 more laps in. What can Formal do? He is 9th. He is only 0.3 of a second faster than Skitchy Barnes at the moment.
Let's give some props to Cooper Beckman as well. Up there into the 3rd spot. Another purple lap for Mateus Morgado. Checker flag going to fly this time by. Everybody else coming by to finish off their session. Isambard goes to 2nd. Carrara 3rd. Cooper Beckman still in the 4th spot, 45.506. We need a lap out of Danny Formal. He'll go P6. That opens the door for the championship, no doubt. Danny Formal, 46.238, the best he could muster, 7 tenths off Mateus Morgado.
And Mateus Morgado, to rub salt into Danny Formal's wounds, went even quicker on his last flying lap, 45.506. That's nearly 4 tenths quicker than everybody else. And you compare a 45.5 for Morgado, a 46.2, 7 tenths slower for championship leader Danny Formal, and he's got the second PSL karting entry of Henry Wheeler in front of him. Cooper Beckman, great result in 4th, but you'd have to think that Cooper will do all he can to help Danny Formal, but then you've got Giorgio Carrara and Alan Isambard. They're there for wins as well, so Morgado certainly has got
a little bit of the job done.
I want to know what happened to Formal. Obviously, Cooper Beckley and his teammate on exactly the same machinery, obviously 0.3 of a second faster. There had to be some kind of an anomaly there for Danny Formal, some kind of an issue. But you see it's Morgado and Isambard on row 1, Carrera alongside Beckley in row 2, and Wheeler will be alongside Danny Formal on row 3, White and Saraceno row 4, Riccio and Barnes row 5, DeAndrea will be there as well in row number 6 alongside Chris Verino, the driver on that Maranello. So indeed, that wraps things up essentially here from our warm-up and qualifying show. Henry, of course, those of you who are watching here on YouTube, if you want to watch the wheel-to-wheel pre-final and finals, you need to be a premium member here on Kart Chaser. You can do that by subscribing to the channel, getting a chance, not only, of course, with the membership to watch this one race, but countless races throughout the 2024 season.
Many, many races. Well, the skies are darkening, but the tracks remains dry and the temperature remains very warm, but things are about to heat up as we go into our premium coverage and the start of the pre-finals coming up shortly.